crescendo of applause, and we know who that's for.
Yeah.
Officer Goodman.
So are we live? Think we're going to go live here, guys. Let's make sure we got this. I swear to God, this stream, if we're gonna go live, well, we got this. We're alive, ladies and gentlemen. Yup.
Speaker Pelosi.
This is it, man. This is it.
And looks like the rest of the JSIC there preparing to cross over.
Okay, hold on. Let's make sure. We're live, everyone. What's up, guys? Good morning, blessed citizens. We are streaming the inauguration of the new president, vice president of the United States.
Vice President-elect Harris, who resigned her seat as a senator from California just yesterday.
All right, we're good. We're good.
Very shortly to be sworn in as vice president.
How many people are watching this live?
Yes.
2 people watching live. Okay, we got this. Yeah, because I promised you guys. You guys don't know why I'm live streaming this. I did 2 polls on Facebook and Instagram asking people if they want to see me do a watch along the inauguration. Everybody said yes. The majority of people said yes, that hey, do a stream of the inauguration, so I'm doing it. We are currently 48 hours away until noon, everyone. It's 11, well now 47. It's 11:13 a.m. here in the United States.
In the red scarf, member of the Joint Committee, the JSIC, Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonial.
Let's see if I could change something, because right now there's something that's bothering me right now of this.
Elect Harris hugging her children there.
Yep, new president, new president, new vice president. Okay. I mean, hey, this is a big day for all of us, pretty much.
Oh, that's a moment there. Vice President.
VP
Vice
meeting
President.
VP.
Yes, Harris elect. Vice President elect.
It's a new day. It's a new beginning, everyone. Oh, yeah, it's still good. Okay, we're still good here. We're still good. Okay. The only reason why I'm gonna make sure I change the thumbnail, because the thumbnail's a little iffy. The thumbnail's a little bad right now.
Are some of the sacred texts that
Hold it. Let me make sure.
Representative Clyburn there having a moment with VP-elect Harris.
Actual size, okay. We got some good old Disney music. Just kidding. I'm just joking with you guys. But I never thought I would be streaming an inauguration here on YouTube. But this is what everybody wanted. I mean, that was an idea I was thinking of doing, and everybody said do it. So I'm doing it. I'm pretty much streaming the inauguration for all of you to watch with me. Honestly, I really don't care if I really don't care if the stream gets claimed, but you know, this is something I've been wanting to do for a while, because hey, this might be the first time that I might be getting all my friends, my family members, all the Final Fantasy and Street Fighter fans and Persona fans to watch this with me. This is kind of good, you know, kind of bringing everyone to watch along, because it's a little different. And for anyone who's wondering, don't worry, we will be live streaming Persona 5 and Final Fantasy 14 again later on. I promise all of you, we will live stream those games later on. I promise. Alright, now it should be better, because I had to change the thumbnail, guys. I had to change the thumbnail. And also, let me also get the live chat portion on. Let me get the pop-out chat here.
You won't see on any other live stream or broadcast. These behind-the-scenes shots. This idea
the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, Staff Representative Alexandria Gordikan-DeChico, accompanying the House Republican leader, the Honorable Kevin McCarthy. Staff Representative Bridget Brennan, accompanying House Majority Leader, the Honorable Steny Hoyer and Mrs. Yvette Lewis.
Hard to imagine this is it. And what the heck? Why is this considered in gaming category? This is not a gaming live stream.
Staff
YouTube is
Representative
weird
Lindsey
sometimes.
Kerr,
YouTube is weird. Why are you
accompanying
considering this
the
as a
Honorable Amy
gaming?
Klobuchar and Mr. John Bessler.
I gotta change this
Staff
because
Representative Stephanie Hager-Mucko,
if I mess this up, guys, people are not gonna be able to.
L. Chow, and Staff Representative Rochelle Graves Schroeder.
I gotta change the
accompanying
stream a
Chairman
little
of the
bit.
Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, the Honorable Roy
Save!
Blunt and Mrs. Abigail Blunt.
So those members of the JCEC, the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, the official host of today's 59th inaugural ceremonies, we can see them there. headed
News
out onto the
politics. I
platform
mean,
and
I mean, this is a
official
political
ceremonies.
stream, so
Proud moment for the committee.
They've put all this together.
Not just
all right, guys. So
September, well
now,
before that,
now that's
planning's going
official.
on.
I'm gonna make sure everybody knows
Let's
we
be
are
honest, this
live
is
right now.
really
We're
different
live.
inauguration, and hopefully something that we
Okay,
won't
so
see
I'm gonna make
again,
sure everybody knows about this.
for a lot of different reasons, and they've really pulled this off handsomely. There goes Senator Blunt, the former Majority Whip of the House. He's been through a few of these ceremonies. Again, this is the second time he has chaired this committee.
Yes.
There's been 5 people to chair the committee twice, and Senator Blunt would be the latest.
He spoke of this ceremony today being an assurance for all people, our continued
right.
and unbroken commitment, continuity, stability, perseverance, democracy. As we get ready to see the peaceful transfer of power and
Okay,
event
hopefully
both
all my
commonplace
family
and
members are gonna be watching
miraculous.
this, and if you're watching this, you know, and if you're part of my family,
President-elect
God bless
Biden
you.
here, and Dr. Jill Biden.
God
just
bless
passing
you.
through the crypt of the Capitol, soon to emerge onto the platform. We can see.
So hopefully the family is
backup
aware.
Obama's here on the platform.
I hope the family's aware so they can watch it.
Cole and Ella, and it's snowing. Cole and Ella, VP Harris's children there.
The watch along
Ella
of the
is the young lady you see
inauguration.
with the plaid coat with kind of a embellishment on the shoulder.
Okay,
Ladies
so-
and gentlemen, accompanying the President-elect, the Staff Director of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, Fitzhugh Elder IV, the Acting House Senate Sergeant-at-Arms, Tim Blodgett, and the Acting Senate Sergeant-at-Arms, Jennifer Hemingway.
Here we go.
You know, snow, not unheard of in Washington in January. But you know what? When they used to have these in March, snow was also
It's not unheard of to have snow in January, but I guess it's a little surprising to have some snow.
in March and
There was a snowy day, but I think it might have been around the 20th century, if I remember. I've always remembered that story of, hey, there was one day used to be snowy. Oh, there's the Obama family. There we go, Biden and Jill Biden. Here we go.
We had a little bit of rain, President Trump, on our last inauguration.
Okay.
Of course, President Obama, I think it was
We have five
about 25
people
degrees.
watching. That's amazing. That's
the weather's
amazing.
always an element.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President-elect of the United States,
Here we go.
Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. and Dr. Jill Biden.
This piece by the Marine Band Trio from Hail America.
This is it. Although we do have about 40 minutes left technically, or 41 minutes before the actual moment of him taking new position actually does happen. Okay,
Every inauguration since Jefferson's. Biden's approaching their seats on the
I guarantee, you know, like, I mean, I'm gonna try my best not to sound too political or just get my political thoughts on it, but I guarantee, you know, once this is over, Trump is gonna brag about it, saying how, look at my inauguration, I had a bigger crowd, because he's all about having big crowds, while most of us, you know, we gotta socially distance. I mean,
Ladies and
let's hope this
gentlemen,
winds up being a
please be
safe and
seated.
enjoyable event. All right, here we go.
That's a phrase that is well welcomed right now. Let's enjoy the ceremony.
So, this is where stuff begins. I think this is where things begin now.
Please welcome the Honorable Amy Klobuchar.
Wait, was she the new, like, who is she again? Oh, never mind. I was thinking it was that new person that joined the Senate. or
Mr.
something.
President-elect, Madam Vice President-elect, members of Congress and the judicial branch, former presidents and first ladies, vice presidents, leaders from abroad, and a whole bunch of Bidens. America, welcome to the 59th presidential inauguration, where in just a few moments, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will take their solemn oaths. This ceremony is the culmination of 244 years of a democracy. It is the moment when leaders brought to this stage by the will of the people promise to be faithful to our Constitution. To cherish it and defend it. It is the moment when they become, as we all should be, guardians of our country. Have we become too jaded, too accustomed to the ritual of the passing of the torch of democracy to truly appreciate what a blessing and a privilege it is to witness this moment? I think not.
It's a moment 4 years in the making, pretty much.
An angry, violent mob staged an insurrection and desecrated this temple of our democracy.
I don't know. I hope we can recover from that insurrection. No joke, guys. I was actually planning to go into Washington, D.C., but after what I saw, I didn't even want to go to D.C. Like, I legit felt nervous and scared to even go today.
And does what America always does. Goes forward as a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This conveyance of a sacred trust between our leaders and our people takes place in front of this shining Capitol dome for a reason. When Abraham Lincoln gave his first inaugural address in front of this Capitol, the dome was only partially constructed, braced by ropes of steel. He promised he would finish it. He was criticized for spending funds on it during the Civil War. To those critics, he replied, "If the people see the Capitol going on, it is a sign we intend the Union
Hell yeah.
go on." And it did, and it will.
Who's coming down the stairs?
Generations of Americans gave their lives to preserve our republic.
I wonder who was that in the background.
Great legislation to protect civil rights and economic security.
If everyone is wondering, like, if you're watching this, you know, comment down below, because I really want to know who's live watching this right now. Because I'm actually I'm making sure, like, I have the chat lit up right now here.
To take up the torch of our democracy, not as a weapon of political arson, but as an instrument for good. We pledge today never to take our democracy for granted as we celebrate its remarkable strength. We celebrate its resilience, its grit. We celebrate the ordinary people doing extraordinary things for our nation, the doctors and nurses on the front line of this pandemic, the officers in the Capitol, a new generation never giving
6 people
up
watching.
for
Thank you.
justice.
To those 6 people that are watching right now, thank you so much.
Joe Biden, who
you guys mean a lot to me. Thank you. Thank you. You guys, all you people are amazing.
The river of our divides to a higher plane. And we celebrate our first African American, first Asian American, and first woman vice president, Kamala Harris, who stands on the shoulders of so many on this platform who have forged the way to this day. When she takes the oath of office, little girls and boys across the world will know that anything and everything is possible. And in the end, that is America.
Wait, is there an audio? Wait. Is there a
so much good. And today,
I think there's a I think there's a delay. I think there's an audio delay from the stream. Hold on a second. Let me take a look at this.
Dedicate ourselves to its cause. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. There was an audio delay, I noticed. Thankfully, I noticed that.
My honor to introduce to you the senator who has worked with me and so many others to make this ceremony possible. My friend and the chair of the Inaugural Committee, Missouri Senator Roy Blunt.
Mr. Roy, let's see what he has to say right now. Such as Roy from Fire Emblem. Huh? Who doesn't love Roy from Fire Emblem? He's better than Marth. You guys are wondering, like, I'm taking a look at the chat because some of you guys are Because I'm seeing the number of views, not to mention is seeing how what people have to say about this.
There'd be a touch of snow up here this morning. Of all the things we'd considered, I don't think snow was on my agenda until I walked out the door a moment ago. But thank you,
Snow is
Sir
within
Klobuchar,
us.
and thanks to the other members.
Let it snow,
of the Joint
let it
Congressional
snow,
Committee on
let
the
it snow.
Inauguration As we officially begin the 59th inaugural ceremony. I also want to thank the Joint Committee staff and our partners, particularly our security partners, for the way they've dealt with unprecedented circumstances. When I chaired the inauguration 4 years ago, I shared President Reagan's 1981 description of this event as commonplace and miraculous. Commonplace because we've done it every 4 years since 1789. Miraculous because we've done it every 4 years since 1789. Americans have celebrated this moment during war, during depression, and now during pandemic. Once again, all three branches of our government come together as the Constitution envisions. Once again, we renew our commitment to our determined democracy, forging a more perfect union. That theme for this inauguration, our determined democracy, forging a more perfect union, was announced by the Joint Committee before the election with the belief that the United States can only fulfill its promise and set an example for others if we are always working to be better than we have been. The Constitution established that determined democracy with its first three words, declaring the people as the source of the government. The Articles of Confederation hadn't done that. The Magna Carta hadn't done that. Only the Constitution says the government exists because the
Someone
people
says,
are
"Will
the
this
source
be
of
the?
reason
Will this
it
turn into a political
exists."
channel?" No, I'm
They
not going to turn it into a
immediately
political
followed those
channel.
first three words with the
This is
words
one of
to
those like
form a more
once.
perfect
This is one of those like
union.
rare moments
The
where I
founders
have
did
to
not
stream
say to
this
form a
because this is a
perfect
moment in
union.
the making for all of
They
us,
did
for all of
not
us
claim that
citizens in this country.
nothing would need to
With
be
everything that's going on,
improved.
like we hope
Fortunately,
that, or
they
we hope that we
understood
made the right
all
choice,
was
and I hope
working
I
to be
made
better
we all made the right choice because
would
this
be
was
the
my
hallmark
first
of a
election that
great
I got to vote.
democracy. The freedoms we have today, the nation we have today, is not here just because it happened, and they aren't complete. A great democracy working through the successes and failures of our history, striving to be better than it had been. And we are
True.
more than we have been, and we are less than we hope to be. The assault on our Capitol at this very place just 2 weeks ago reminds us that a government designed to balance and check itself is both fragile and resilient. During the last year, the pandemic challenged our free and open society and called for extraordinary determination and sacrifice, and still challenges us today. Meeting that challenge head on have been and are healthcare
For those who
workers,
are
scientists,
watching, is the
first
audio good? Am I
responders,
too loud,
essential
or is
frontline
the
workers,
or is the
and so
stream
many
too
others
low
we
or something?
depend
Let me
on
know,
in so many
so
ways.
I can make sure the quality is as
Today
good
we
as it
come
could
to
be
this
for this.
moment. People all over the world, as we're here, are watching and will watch what we do here. Our government comes together. The Congress and the courts join the transition of executive responsibility. One political party more pleased today and on every inaugural day than the other. But this is not a moment of division, it's a moment of unification. A new administration begins and brings with it a new beginning. And with that, our great national debate goes forward, and a determined democracy will continue
I'm just
to be
hoping that, like,
essential
you know, that this world
in
will become
pursuit of
better.
a more perfect union and a better future.
Because a
for
part of
all
me does hope
Americans.
that perhaps
What a
Democrats and
privilege for me to
Republicans
join
can
you
somehow
today.
unite.
Thank you.
Because we have a common thread, and that's this pandemic. It's perfect.
I'm
Oh,
pleased to call to the
everyone,
podium
let's
a
give a shout out
longtime
to my
friend of
mother,
the
to
President-elect
my
and
amazing
his
mom who's
family,
watching this
Father
with me.
Leo
Thank you so much.
O'Donovan,
Gracias, mami.
to lead us in an invocation. Please stand if you are able and remain standing for the national anthem and the pledge to our flag.
All right, here we go. So we have 30 minutes left, guys. We have 30 minutes left till noon.
Gracious and merciful God, at this sacred time we come before you in need, indeed on our knees. But we come still more with hope and with our eyes raised anew to the vision of a more perfect union in our land, a union of all our citizens to promote the general welfare and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. We are a people of many races, creeds, and colors, national backgrounds and styles, now far more numerous and on land much vaster than when Archbishop John Carroll wrote his prayer for the inauguration of George Washington 232 years ago.
True.
Archbishop Carroll prayed that you, O Creator of all, would assist with your Holy Spirit of counsel and fortitude the President of these United States, that his administration may be conducted in righteousness and be eminently useful to your people. Today we confess our past failures to live according to our vision of equality and freedom for all. Yet we
For anyone that's watching this who may not know, as someone whose parents are immigrants, it's not easy growing up.
And so becoming a light for the world.
There's one that I could say though, my family is God bless all of us, but we can all agree that some people, they still view us as invaders, and that's not true. You know, the white supremacists and all this stuff, they don't understand what people like us, had to face. We need unity. That's the thing. Everybody's being blamed for everything, and we gotta stop blaming each other and at least have all of us get united.
Patriotism.
Because we have a common goal, and that's to fix this mess that we're in.
But of care for the common good, with malice toward none, and with charity for all. For our new president, we beg of you the wisdom Solomon sought when he knelt before you and prayed for an understanding heart.
Jacob Tutan. Hi Jacob, how are you? ¿Cómo estás a toda la familia que está mirando? ¿Cómo estás?
We trust in the counsel of the letter of James. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. Pope Francis has reminded us how important it is to dream together. By ourselves, he wrote, we risk seeing mirages, things that are not there. Dreams, on the other hand, are built together. Be with us, holy mystery of love, as we dream together. Help us under our new president to reconcile the people of our land, restore our dream and invest it with peace and justice and the joy that is the overflow of love. To the glory of your name, forever. Amen.
Amen. Yeah, 25 minutes, guys. We have 25 minutes left. It feels so surreal, just the amount of silence, because obviously with social distancing.
Please remain standing for the presentation of our national colors by the Armed Forces Color Guard, the singing of our national anthem, and for the Pledge of Allegiance.
It's so surreal just hearing a silent crowd, honestly. But in a way, it gives a sort of respectful feel to it. My big question is, like, outside of you, La Familia, I wonder who exactly will be joining us, because I have a feeling this will be a family versus fan war. That's gonna happen, because trust me, the people that watch my content are much different than all of you. Good little marching band. At least it doesn't feel like
Ladies and
some
gentlemen,
sort of...
Here for the singing of our national anthem, accompanied by the President's own
Oh.
United States Marine Band, please welcome Lady Gaga.
Yeah, Lady Gaga, here we go. Oh my god, look at that dress! Yo, everybody, look at that dress she's wearing. Wow. Oh my god. What is she wearing? Like that... It's kind of incredible, I guess. Wow. Oh, did anybody hear that? I literally heard somebody laughing. I heard somebody laughing in the crowd. Like, they cannot believe what she's wearing. It's not bad. It's just shockingly strange to like, because we don't even know what people would wear for something like this. Oh, I know it's a golden microphone she's holding. Alright, everybody. Surprising! Oh wow! Surprisingly, no one has content. That's nice. Damn, that is amazing! Wow! I love it! That performance is amazing. I mean, like, she's on a roll. She's on a roll from that film that came out a couple of years ago to that song "Rain on Me" with Ariana Grande. Lady Gaga's on a roll now. Like, who doesn't love her music and the singing? Yeah, that's gotta be the biggest honor for anybody to sing the national anthem for an inauguration. Congratulations to her.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the city of South Fulton, Georgia Fire and Rescue Department, President of the International Association of Firefighters, Local 3920, Fire Captain Andrea M. Hall for the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance.
Here we go.
I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of
the United States
of America
and to the
republic
for which it
which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible,
with liberty
and
justice
for all.
What you are all about to be part of, America, is a historic moment of firsts. To administer the oath to our first African American, our first Asian American, and our first woman vice president.
A lot of firsts. That's what Saturday Night
Kamala
Live
Harris,
says.
It is my great privilege to welcome to the inaugural stage the first Latina
6 people
to ever
watching.
serve
Thank
on
you.
the Supreme Court
Thank you.
of the
Those 6
United
people
States
watching,
of
thank you so
America,
much.
Justice Sonia Sotomayor.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the oath of office, followed by musical honors.
Oh, so Kamala Harris, oh, she's gonna speak now. Nice. Oh,
Please raise your right hand.
oh,
And repeat
everybody,
after
this is
me.
it, man. Everybody, this is it.
I-
This is it.
Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear
I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
that I will well and faithfully discharge
that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Yes. A todas mujeres. For all the women out there, it's time for you to celebrate. It's official. Our very first female vice president of the United States of America. It's official. Congratulations, Kamala Harris, for making history. Wow. Hello there, Eric Alex. Thank you for joining the stream.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Okay.
Please welcome Jennifer Lopez to perform This Land Is Your Land and America the Beautiful, accompanied by members of the President's
J-Lo!
United States Marine Band.
Seriously, what is her secret? I swear to God, the Fountain of Youth must be a real thing. The Fountain of Youth must be a real thing, considering she does not age. Like, how could someone as her still look gorgeous at age 51? That is amazing. And also, you know, one of the best, not to mention one of the best singers of the 21st century. Let's not forget about that. It's not even been a full year since the Super Bowl, and yet she's still making history, no matter where she goes. Ah, we got some Final Fantasy-like music here, everybody. Final Fantasy!
This land is your land. This land is my land.
Oh god, I hope I don't get copyright claimed over this song.
California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I went walking down that ribbon of highway.
Yeah, this reminds me of Eyes on Me from Final Fantasy VIII. I agree. Yeah, I agree with the. Someone else in my separate chat says it sounds like a Final Fantasy VIII song. that is so true. Eyes on Me. That's what it kind of reminds me of a little bit. Yes. Whoa, she's singing an orchestra version of that other song, Let's Get Loud? Whoa. So she mixed in one of her other songs within the national anthem. How? That's impressive. Holy crap, that was amazing. Can she please release that as an actual single? That was beautiful. My goodness. That was amazing. I love that performance. Viva todos Latinos! Woo!
Well, that was great. The sun is shining, and Mr. President-elect, this is the first inauguration in the history of America where J-Lo was the warm-up act for Chief Justice Roberts. With that, it is now my distinct honor to introduce the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, John Roberts, to administer the presidential oath to the next President of the United States,
Hell yeah.
Joseph R. Biden.
So 12 minutes ago, we are getting closer to the moment that we've all been waiting for, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the oath of office, followed by musical honors.
We are getting closer and closer to the moment. All right. Oh yeah, there's her daughter Ashley Biden. Has anybody seen the interview that they did with her recently? I mean everybody's been talking about that as well.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me.
Here we go, everybody.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
Office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Woo! It's beginning, guys! We won! It's over! Everybody! 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 It's over! Here we go! It's over! It's over! Hold on, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
I'm sorry, I had to do that, guys. For the love of God, if you have a PS4, please play Final Fantasy X and Persona 5. Like that, what you heard there were the two victory themes of those games. I had to do it. But a new era has officially begun here in this country, United States, 9 minutes early. What the heck happened? Seriously, what the heck has happened?
My fellow Americans, a moment we have all been waiting for. It is now my great privilege and high honor to be the first person to officially introduce the 46th President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden, Jr.
Everybody, oh my god, the chat's blowing up. The chat is blowing up so far.
Vice President Harris. Speaker Pelosi. Leader Schumer.
I don't think people have been this happy for a victory because for once, thank God, you know, we don't have to deal with bull crap anymore. At least we hope not.
This is America's day. This is democracy's day. A day of history and hope, of renewal and resolve. Through a crucible for the ages, America has been tested anew, and America has risen to the challenge. Today, we celebrate the triumph not of a candidate, but of a cause, the cause of democracy. The people, the will of the people, has been heard, and the will of the people has been heeded. We've learned again that democracy is precious. Democracy is fragile. And at this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed. So now, on this hallowed ground where just a few days ago, violence sought to shake the Capitol's very foundation, we come together as one nation, under God, indivisible, to carry out the peaceful transfer of power as we have for more than 2 centuries. As we look
it's a long speech, so you gotta have some projector that'll make sure that you know what you're saying.
Optimistic, and set our sights on the nation we know we can be and we must be. I thank my predecessors of both parties for their presence here today. I thank them from the bottom of my heart. And I know.
You know, wouldn't it be so cool, like the first Medal of Freedom that Joe Biden gives as president, he would give it to Obama? Like, imagine how come full circle that would be.
President Carter, who I spoke with last night, who cannot be with us today, but whom we salute for his lifetime in service. I've just taken the sacred oath each of those patriots have taken. The oath first sworn by George Washington. But the American story depends not on any one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us, on we the people who seek a more perfect union. This is a great nation. We are good people. And over the centuries, through storm and strife, in peace and in war, we've come so far, but we still have far to go.
If we all work together with a common cause, we can actually make the goal happen.
Much to do in this winter of peril and significant possibilities. Much to repair, much to restore, much to heal, much to build, and much to gain. Few people in our nation's history have been more challenged or found a time more challenging or difficult than the time we're in now. Once-in-a-century virus that silently stalks the country. It's taken as many lives in 1 year as America lost in all of World War II. Millions of jobs have been lost. Hundreds of thousands of businesses closed. A cry for racial justice, some 400 years in the making, moves us. The dream of justice for all will be deferred no longer.
So far, I would say the guards who are there and all the army, it looks like they're doing a great job to make sure nothing bad happens here at this inauguration.
It can't be any more desperate or any more clear. And now, a rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism that we must confront and we will defeat.
Totally
To
agree.
overcome these challenges, to restore the soul and secure the future of America, requires so much more than words. It requires the most elusive of all things in a democracy: unity. Unity. In another January, on New Year's Day in 1863, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. When he put pen to paper, the president said, and I quote, "If my name ever goes down into history, it'll be for this act, and my whole soul is in it." My whole soul is in it. Today, on this January day, my whole soul is in this, bringing America together, uniting
Totally.
our people, uniting our nation. And I ask every American to join me in this cause.
Is that Nancy Pelosi there?
Uniting to fight the foes we face: anger, resentment and hatred, extremism, lawlessness, violence, disease, joblessness, and hopelessness. With unity, we can do great things, important things. We can right wrongs. We can put people to work in good jobs. We can teach our children in safe schools. We can overcome the deadly virus. We can reward work and rebuild the middle class and make health care secure for all. We can deliver racial justice, and we can make America once again the leading force for good in the world. I know speaking of unity can sound to some like a foolish fantasy these days. I know the forces that divide us are deep and they are real. But I also know they are not new. Our history has been a constant struggle between the American ideal that we're all are created equal and the harsh, ugly reality that racism, nativism, fear, demonization have long torn us apart. The battle is perennial, and victory is never assured. Through Civil War, the Great Depression, World War, 9/11, through struggle, sacrifice, and setbacks, our better angels have always prevailed.
I'm letting you guys
In each
know
of these moments,
it's officially
enough of
noon.
us-
It's now
enough
noon, so
of
now
us
it's official. Now it's
come
official. Now
together
Biden's the official
to carry
president.
all of us forward. And we can do that now. History, faith, and reason show the way of unity. We can see each other not as adversaries, but as neighbors. We can treat each other with dignity and respect. We can join forces, stop the shouting, and lower the temperature.
Oh, what on earth am I?
Without
What on earth
unity,
happened there?
There is no peace, only bitterness and fury. No progress, only exhausting outrage. No nation, only a state of chaos. This is our historic moment of crisis and challenge. And unity is the path forward. And we must meet this moment as the United States of America. If we do that, I guarantee you we will not fail. We have never, ever, ever, ever failed in America when we've acted together. And so today, at this time, in this place, let's start afresh, all of us. Let's begin to listen to one another again, hear one another, see one another, show respect to one another. Politics doesn't have to be a raging fire, destroying everything in its path. Every disagreement doesn't have to be a cause for total war. And we must reject the culture in which facts themselves are manipulated and even manufactured.
Politics is. You can use the sports analogy for
My
politics
fellow
these days.
Americans, we have to be different than this. America has to be better than this. And I believe America is so much better than this. Just look around. Here we stand in the shadow of the Capitol Dome, as was mentioned earlier, completed amid the Civil War, when the Union itself was literally hanging in the balance. Yet we endured. We prevailed. Here we stand, looking out on the great mall where Dr. King spoke of his dream. Here we stand where 108 years ago, at another inaugural, thousands of protesters tried to block brave women marching for the right to vote. And today, we mark the swearing in of the first woman in American history elected to national office, Vice President Kamala Harris. Don't tell me things can't change.
We could change as a society, for sure.
Here we stand across the Potomac from Arlington Cemetery, where heroes who gave the last full measure of devotion rest in eternal peace. And here we stand, just days after a riotous mob thought they could use violence to silence the will of the people, to stop the work of our democracy, to drive us from this sacred ground. It did not happen. It will never happen. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Not ever. To all those who supported our campaign, I'm humbled by the faith you've placed in us. To all those who did not support us, let me say this. Hear me out as we move forward.
Unfortunately, that's a good like 40% of this country.
And if you still disagree, so be it. That's democracy. That's America. The right to dissent peaceably within the guardrails of our republic is perhaps this nation's greatest strength. Yet hear me clearly. Disagreement must not lead to disunion. And I pledge this to you. I will be a president for all Americans. All Americans. And I promise you, I will fight as hard for those who did not support me as for those who did. Many centuries ago, St. Augustine, a saint of my church, wrote that a people was a multitude defined by the common objects of their love. Defined by the common objects of their love. What are the common objects we as Americans love that define us as Americans? I think we know. Opportunity, security, liberty, dignity, respect, honor, and yes, the truth.
Truth can mean many things, unfortunately.
It taught us a painful lesson. There is truth and there are lies. Lies told for power and for profit. And each of us has a duty and a responsibility as citizens, as Americans, and especially as leaders.
Hello, WR3RBA away. I don't know how you pronounce your name, but thank you. I'm doing good. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for joining the stream.
Look, I understand that many of my fellow Americans view the future with fear and trepidation. I understand they worry about their jobs. I understand, like my dad, they lay at bed at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering, can I keep my health care? Can I pay my mortgage? Thinking about their families, about what comes next. I promise you, I get it. But the answer is not to turn inward, to retreat into competing factions, distrusting those who don't look like you, or worship the way you do, or don't get their news from the same sources you do. We must end this uncivil war that pits red against blue, rural versus urban, or rural versus urban, conservative versus liberal. We can do this if we open our souls instead of hardening our hearts, if we show a little tolerance and humility, and if we're willing to stand in the other person's shoes, as my mom would say, just for a moment, stand in their shoes. Because here's the thing about life. There's no accounting for what fate will deal you. Some days, when you need a hand. There are other days when we're called to lend a hand. That's how it has to be. That's what we do for one another. And if we are this way, our country will be stronger, more prosperous, more ready for the future. And we can still disagree. My fellow Americans, in the work ahead of us, we're going to need each other. We need all our strength to persevere through this dark winter. We're entering what may be the toughest and deadliest period of the virus. We must set aside politics and finally face this pandemic as one nation. One nation. And I promise you this, as the Bible says, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. We will get through this together. Together. Look, folks, all my colleagues I serve with in the House and the Senate up here, we all understand the world is watching all of us today. So here's my message to those beyond our borders. America has been tested, and we've come out stronger for it. We will repair our alliances and engage with the world once again. Not to meet yesterday's challenges, but today's and tomorrow's challenges. And we'll lead not merely by the example of our power, but by the power of our example.
The Paris Climate,
We'll
Act
strong and
that they're
trusted
doing,
partner for peace, progress,
and immigration
and security.
stuff, we might be on the right path, guys.
Look, you all know we've been through so much in this nation. And my first act as president, I'd like to ask you to join me in a moment of silent prayer. Remember all those who we lost in this past year to the pandemic.
Moment of silence, guys.
100,000 fellow Americans, moms, dads, husbands, wives, sons, daughters, friends, neighbors, and co-workers. We'll honor them for becoming the people and the nation we know we can and should be.
I think all of us have
So
lost
ask me,
someone due to this pandemic.
Let's say a silent prayer for those who've lost their lives and those left behind, and for our country.
Everyone.
Amen.
Amen.
Folks, this is a time of testing. We face an attack on our democracy and on truth, a raging virus, growing inequity, the sting of systemic racism, a climate in crisis, America's role in the world. Any one of these would be enough to challenge us in profound ways. But the fact is, we face them all at once, presenting this nation with one of the gravest responsibilities we've had. Now we're going to be tested. Are we going to step up, all of us? It's time for boldness, for there's so much to do. And this is certain. I promise you, we will be judged, you and I, by how we resolve these cascading crises of our era. We will rise to the occasion is the question. Will we master this rare and difficult hour? Will we meet our obligations and pass along a new and better world to our children?
We can overcome it for sure.
I believe we must. I'm sure you do as well. I believe we will. And when we do, we'll write the next great chapter in the history of the United States of America, the American story. A story that might sound something like a song that means a lot to me. It's called American Anthem. There's one verse that stands out, at least for me, and it goes like this. The work and prayers of century have brought us to this day. What shall be our legacy? What will our children say? Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best to you. Let's us add our own work and prayers to the unfolding story of our great nation. If we do this, then when our days are through, our children and our children's children will say of us, they gave their best, they did their duty, they healed a broken land. My fellow Americans, I close the day where I began, with the sacred oath. Before God and all of you, I give you my word. I will always level with you. I will defend the Constitution. I'll defend our democracy. I'll defend America. And I'll give all of you, keep everything I do in your service, thinking not of power, but of possibilities, not of personal interest, but the public good. And together, we shall write an American story of hope, not fear, of unity, not division, of light, not darkness, a story of decency and dignity, love and healing, greatness and goodness. May this be the story that guides us, the story that inspires us, and the story that tells ages yet to come that we answered the call of history. We met the moment. Democracy and hope, truth and justice did not die on our watch but thrived. That America secured liberty at home and stood once again as a beacon to the world. That is what we owe our forebears, one another, and generation to follow. So, with purpose and resolve, we turn to those tasks of our time, sustained by faith, driven by conviction, and devoted to one another and the country we love with all our hearts. May God bless America, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, America.
That's the speech. It's going to be a long 4 years of trying to repair this country, but I know if we all work together, we can somehow make it work for sure. I mean, with this pandemic, police brutality, racial injustice, everything is... Yeah, this economy's still not recovering. You know, the good thing is we have the vaccine, but, you know, but with the 10-day, with this first 10 days in this planning, there's a chance that things could work out at the end.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Alright, so what's next? Kamala Harris should be giving her speech soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Garth Brooks to perform Amazing Grace.
Okay, so another national anthem singing. Oh, with a cowboy hat, I see. Alright. Another moment of silence for one of the national anthem songs, everyone.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. If I can ask you to sing this last verse with me, not just the people here, but the people at home, at work, as one, united.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
I once was lost, but
Now I'm found.
was blind,
Once blind,
but
but now I see. Nice. Somehow the stream is delayed. There's a delay for my stream the way I watch it. If I kind of messed it up, that's sort of the reason. I'm not saying watching the live stream has a small delay, but because I'm streaming from a live stream, you kind of get that delay factor in there. But that was a great performance. So far we've been getting some great performances. And a lot of celebrity worth ones as well. Oh, what's next? Wait, did he forget something in the back? Did he forget something? What happened? Now he's running off. Now he's running back off.
Hard not to be reminded of President Obama's singing that same song at the Mother Emanuel Church.
Oh. I was 8 years
song
old when that
in our
happened.
culture is as
Amazing.
close to both poetry and prayer as you could possibly come. And we're going to finish with those two things. Let me introduce Amanda Gorman, our nation's first ever National Poet Laureate.
Okay.
Mr. President, Dr. Biden, Madam Vice President, Mr. Emhoff, Americans, and the world. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace. In the norms and notions of what just isn't always just is. And yet the dawn is hours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first. We must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true. That even as we grieved, we grew. That even as we hurt, we hoped. That even as we tired, we tried. That we'll forever be tied together, victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promised glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare it, because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded.
Pretty much everyone's here today for this. I mean, no surprise.
Delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith we trust, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption. We feared it at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So, while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be, a country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens. But one thing is certain: if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left. With every breath from my bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the gold-limbed hills of the west. We will rise from the wind-swept northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked south. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation, in every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light.
Totally.
If only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it.
Yes, 5 viewers seeing this live. Thank you, guys. Those look like a lot of people, even though this is a socially distanced event.
Thank you, Amanda Gorman. Now for our benediction, I'm pleased to introduce Reverend Dr. Sylvester Beeman, the pastor of the Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Wilmington, Delaware, a friend of President Biden for 30 years.
There's a lot to witness for this new change in our country.
As a nation and people of faith gathered in this historical moment, let us unite in prayer.
All right,
God,
prayer, guys.
We gather under the beauty of your holiness and the holiness of your beauty. We seek your face, your smile, your warm embrace. We petition you once more in this celebration. We pray for divine favor upon our President, Joseph R. Biden, and our First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, and their family. We further ask that you would extend the same favor upon our Vice President, Kamala D. Harris, and our second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, and their family. More than ever, they and our nation need you. We need you, for in you we discover our common humanity. In our common humanity, we will seek out the wounded and bind their wounds. We will seek healing for those who are sick and diseased. We will mourn our dead. We will befriend the lonely, the least, and the left out. We will share our abundance with those who are hungry. We will do justly to the oppressed, acknowledge sin, and seek forgiveness, thus grasping reconciliation. In discovering our humanity, we will seek the good in and for all our neighbors. We will love the unlovable, remove the stigma of the so-called untouchables. We will care for our most vulnerable, our children, the elderly, emotionally challenged, and the poor. We will seek rehabilitation beyond correction. We will extend opportunity to those locked out of opportunity. We will make friends of our enemies. We will make friends of our enemies. People, your people, shall no longer raise up weapons against one another. We will rather use our resources for the national good and become a beacon of life and goodwill to the world. And neither shall we learn hatred anymore. We will lie down in peace and not make our neighbors afraid. In you, O God, we discover our humanity. In our humanity, we discover our commonness. Beyond the difference of color, creed, origin, political party, ideology, geography, and personal preferences. We'll become greater stewards of your environment, preserving the land, reaping from it a sustainable harvest, and securing its wonder and miracle-giving power for generations to come. This is our benediction, that from these hallowed grounds, where slaves labored to build this shrine and citadel to liberty and democracy, let us all acknowledge, from the indigenous Native American to those who recently received their citizenship, from the African American to those whose foreparents came from Europe and every corner of the globe, from the wealthy to those struggling to make it, from every human being regardless of their choices, that this is our country. As such, teach us, O God. As such, teach us, O God, to live in it, love in it, be healed in it, and reconcile to one another in it, lest we miss kingdom's goal. To your glory, majesty, dominion, and power forever. Hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. In the strong name of our collective faith. Amen.
Amen.
Please remain standing as the Armed Forces Color Guard retires our national colors.
Nice. Hey viewers, thank you guys. Thank you so much. That's amazing. 9 viewers. Wow, 9. Seriously, everyone that's joining, that decided to watch this inauguration on my stream, thank you so much. In all seriousness, the color of my hair truly represents how I think all of us feel right now. Some good old marching bands right here. It'll be interesting, just us, when we all finally wake up tomorrow morning, to know that Biden and Harris will be will be hard at work to repair this country.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated and remain in
All
your
right.
seats while the president and official party depart the platform. For safety reasons, your ushers will release your section in an organized manner, following the playing of our national march, The Stars and Stripes Forever.
Oh, it's the march, I think. Yeah, the march is happening now. Obviously, like, everybody's gonna go separately due to social distancing rules, but it's the safest way they can do for this. Ah, look at that. Okay. Honestly, like, Biden and Obama equals friendship goals. Like, I have, like, obviously, like, Obama was the first U.S. president that I really, you know, grew up with, mostly, because I was, you know, 8 years old by then, but can we all agree, like, that is one deep and amazing friendship that those two have. Like, especially in real life. In real life, we need friendships like this, you know? Sticking by your side, working together. Everybody congratulating each other. It's a big moment. I'll give credit, you know, security's doing pretty good as of now, you know. Once the parade happens, you know, that's the part where hopefully everything will be safe by then. Like, let's... Everybody waving, saying thank you, yes. Yes! The Harris family. Though that is two large families that are going to be just united, you know, with a lot of work on their hands. Hey, is it just me or is there something happening with the stream? There's a Clinton, but... Okay, it's good. Sorry, because... I was wondering, like, what is going on with the quality? It looks like the quality dropped to the 480, but it's back at 720, thankfully. I'm not putting this at 1080 because I don't know if my laptop can handle 1080. I mean, unlike the capture card, I guess it could, but if I did it, you know, 1080 here, I think that would make the lag way worse. There's Mike Pence.
Well, Janet, we really witnessed something today. What did we witness? Janet, we really witnessed something today.
So I guess the main commentary is back. So for now, I guess what we're all gonna wait is until 1, 2 when the parade starts, because that's sort of the big kind of main event that everybody's gonna be looking forward to as far as celebration-wise.
Abraham Lincoln. He was quoted 3 times. Now,
So as we wait, you know, you guys can kind of write in your comments, you know, because this is the section where I'm gonna do the Q&A stuff that everybody's been wanting me to do.
How about the first youth poet, Inaugural?
Conductor.
She was tremendous, using words like rebuild and recovery. But she's awfully skilled in alliteration.
Yes, Amanda Gorman's poem, "The Hill We Climb."
I mean, this is an indoor event. Anybody who's like not from the United States who...
1961.
What do you think Joe will do? The first thing he's gonna do is so he listed his plans for the first 10 days. So for anyone who doesn't know, you may or may not know, he signed a $1.9 trillion plan to help recover the economy. Some of it to speed up the process and do a mass release of the vaccines. The problem is that here, at least here in New York City, the city will be out of vaccines.
Garth Brooks walking down the
Lord. So the thing is going to happen is that the vaccines, we may run out of vaccines by Friday. That's the problem. It's for all you gamers. Think of this as like the PS5 analogy, and this might be a bad analogy because why would you compare a video game console to, you know, a vaccine that will save us from this disease or this virus that's happening? But there's not enough, and they're worried that we might run out and there might not be enough, but they're doing a massive plan to hopefully release more with this plan. Paying more people who've lost their jobs because, I mean, some of us are still struggling to apply for a job.
Nobody else does anything
But
like this. And nobody else has
as far as the impeachment stuff,
Even now.
I don't think Biden said that's not on his mind, even though some of the Democratic Party believe that he should equally focus on the trial that's going to happen soon for Trump, but he said he won't do it. So he's leaving it to Mitch McConnell to decide, what he wants to go with it.
And this is the part where everybody gets up and starts to make their way back off the platform, back into the Capitol. We saw VP Harris and her husband going through the crypt a few moments ago.
But let's be real here. The only reason why most of us voted for Biden is, even if you don't like Biden or not, most of us were like, okay, we dealt with 4 years with Trump. This country's not going to get better with this pandemic going on, with all the other issues, the racial injustice and everything. Let's try someone new. I think that was the mentality. It wasn't just, let's vote for Joe Biden because he was Obama's vice president. It was more like, let's take a chance on somebody different, because he's got almost 50 years, 40, 50 years of experience working in the government.
That's why inauguration.
I'll say this: I am kind of concerned for his health because he is 78, but he's a healthy guy, so I hope he ends up being fine at the end.
For the good of the people, and that the people will direct, and that government should respect.
As far as Trump, he's never going to go away. You're going to hear him a lot because of his personality and sort of his past experience of being a celebrity in the media. He'll still be around no matter what. It's just that he's going to take a different approach, I think, as far as how he presents a lot of his stories. Whether it's him starting his own news channel, which I find ridiculous. He'll be around, but let's be real here. I think most news outlets, they're going to focus on Biden more often. Because if Trump wants to promote his own news, he'll promote it on his own. You're not going to have any other news site promoting other people's news unless it's something major, nice moment there. Obama hugging Lady Gaga. Now that's an honor there. I mean, come on. Let's be real here. That performance of Lady Gaga was great, and that dress is ridiculously great. I say ridiculously because that dress is huge. If you've seen it.
Certainly found something to rival the architecture and the iconography of the Capitol. and we've talked a little bit about fashion choices, how to stand out in the crowd.
Oh God.
Here we are, the young poet.
Oh, not again. What is going on here?
You just mentioned Miss Gore, who has a
sorry, I sort of meant that what was going on here, people are sort of reacting to this positively.
Maya Angelou, another poet who has spoken. So that's the
yeah,
poet
this
Amanda
is
Gorman in
pretty
the
good.
Yellow jacket, and we see Lady Gaga and Michelle Obama hugging here.
Well, there'll be a few pictures taken there.
Those two families are going to be close. Due to their friendship.
Go back to the East Front.
East Front steps.
Oh, here we go.
It's not over. What do we mean by the
So,
of Mr. Pence?
They say Mike
There's
Pence.
just as many iconic ceremonies that happen after the swearing of the oath as there are before. And there are just as many moments for us to watch and see these behind-the-scenes perspectives. I believe that
Is today a holiday for us? No. I'm still off from school. I still have about 2 weeks from school, but
at times when we finished our assignments,
it's so weird. It's not a holiday, but it feels like a holiday. It's like a day of freedom. I mean,
there's more than a few thousand people.
It couldn't land any better than on a Wednesday, because somehow Wednesdays are a day off. Usually it's a day off for a lot of my family. We usually work. Usually a lot of my family don't work on Wednesdays, so. But to make it a bigger factor, we're not allowed to go outside, or at least we're not allowed to travel, because here in the city, they close a lot of the tunnels and bridges because they don't want anyone coming into DC to not do something terrible. So we're all forced to stay home. But because of that, we're all gonna be watching this for a long time today. It's not a holiday. It's a freedom day. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Oi, freedom, freedom, freedom. Oi. That's what it is.
We're not having it.
That's the poet Amanda Gorman there in the yellow jacket again. And a beautiful view of the dome here on the west front of the Capitol. Again, those flags there representing the center one is our current flag, 50 stars for 50 states. The ones at the far ends
Or the past flags.
the 13 colonies that were in the Union in the beginning.
Friends, we have a video.
It's like a video game? I don't know which. This video game.
When applicable, following the swearing-in ceremonies on the west front of the U.S. Capitol.
Well, think of it as like the ending of a video game. A good ending, where you could say the villain is dethroned and now the new hero shall rise. Although it's not the end. It's the end of a story and the start of a new one.
George Washington attended the inauguration.
Anyways, oh, there's a documentary so far, a presentation about inaugurations.
Subsequent departing presidents followed Washington's example.
This right here is going to be a history lesson for all of us once again.
The departing president also usually accompanied the newly elected president on the carriage ride from the Capitol to the White House following the inauguration. In the early 20th century, a new tradition evolved whereby the outgoing president quietly left the Capitol immediately following the swearing-in ceremony. In 1909, after congratulating President Howard Taft, former President Theodore Roosevelt left the Capitol for Union Station, where he took a train to his home in New York. Outgoing Presidents Coolidge and Hoover also left the Capitol for Union Station, where they traveled home by train. Outgoing Presidents Truman, Eisenhower, and Johnson left the Capitol by car. In recent years, the newly installed President and Vice President have escorted their predecessors out of the Capitol after the swearing-in ceremony. The members of the JSIC gather on the stairs on the east front of the Capitol building and watch as the new vice president escorts the outgoing vice president and his spouse out of the Capitol through a military cordon. Then, the new president escorts the outgoing president and his spouse through the military cordon.
What's plans for today? Now, I'm just, this is my plan. I'm streaming this entire thing. I don't know how long. Will it be a 4-hour stream just like the one I did for Persona 5 Royal? Who knows? Who knows? I mean, it depends on how long this will go. Is this stream ending? Oh, okay, no. I was like, what? This is over?
We have these wonderful
It's a long day because all of us were going to be watching this from beginning to end.
That we get to show you, and here we are preparing.
I've seen inauguration before. The first inauguration I've ever saw was for the Obama one, because you know that the Obama one was so important. Yeah, hopefully don't fail, because here's the thing. Because I know, because I know speaking your political opinions might, will offend everyone no matter what. But I'll say this. If Biden, F's up, if he does something, if he screws up, I'm gonna call him out if Joe Biden does it. But, I'll say that, I mean, look, Trump, he may have done some stuff, but the rest of it is just more scrutiny.
Notice who was the lead person out the east front.
I hope he doesn't fall. Yeah, I hope not. Because yes, it was snowing. I mean, as we woke up here, it was snowing. It was snowing here in the East Coast.
Acting Deputy Senate Sergeant Major for the day. Here we go. The Harrises and the Pences walking down the steps, or excuse me, Mr. Emhoff and Ms. Harris going down the steps here. The East Front steps going through the military cordon and taking a moment on the East Front steps.
At least Mike Pence was willing to, say congratulations to them.
This has to be a productive moment for, particularly the Pences. We don't know what the future holds for them, but
I mean, look, I don't agree with Mike Pence, but I hope someone protects him because all the chanting that the rioters did, all the chanting that I heard, that was, I mean, if you're him, you gotta be worried in some ways. All those following steps, yeah.
Really what the changeover was. He referenced that in his speech at my graduation.
I don't know, like it feels weird, watching this live because it feels weird to know that I would have been there at DC. I was actually planning on going to DC, but like I said, after what happened 2 weeks ago, I said, it's not worth the risk. I'm not traveling to DC after what happened 2 weeks ago. There was no way I was going to do that.
Anyone for whom this is not an emotional day. Not just the people who are directly involved in the
It's more victorious day.
but the folks who work here at the Capitol who witness these every couple of years like we do, and the folks watching at home have got to have emotions bound up in these moments. And especially when you feel empathy for the various people and think of the emotions that are going through those heads. That's usually where it gets me. So we can see former VP Pence.
Yeah, a lot of channels.
Here on the East Front.
I'm curious if there's anybody that's actually streaming this live. And I'm not, and when I say that, I'm not talking about like the news site or any websites. I wonder if people are actually doing like a watch along, like the way I'm doing it.
On the East Front.
What games I'm playing currently? You know, besides Persona 5 Royal, I've been playing that. I've been playing a bunch of Cold War because there's that free trial happening. Cold War's alright. And of course, I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14. I mean,
no, I was not assigned to the old guard.
you know, honestly, even though a lot of people aren't necessarily gamers, even though a lot of the people who are watching this are not gamers, which includes a lot of my family who's watching this live, I think, para toda la familia que está mirando, I think you would be interested in watching Final Fantasy 14. Because you're not watching any other character doing this. You're not watching a protagonist. You're watching me doing it. Literally, you're literally watching me saving the world from this nation, from a nation in the game.
From all over the country and people from all over the world that are
I gotta be honest, I don't know if I am really gonna stream. And I'm gonna ask for the Final Fantasy 14 fans, if you guys really want me to stream the February 5th presentation that they're gonna do, because I'm still in the Rebellion Reborn campaign. I'm still not even up to the first expansion yet. It's gonna take a long time for me to ever reach where everyone else has reached, because I know that for sure the upcoming event will be announcing the 4th expansion, so everyone's gonna be asking. In a way, it's like, what's the point of me reacting to a 4th expansion if I'm nowhere near gonna reach that part of the game? You know, unless they announce something big. I hope Blitzball makes it in Final Fantasy 14.
Yes, right where
this is all within the last year.
Standing, just this past summer, just about 6 months ago or so.
I mean, I know why people don't want to see Blitzball in Final Fantasy 10, because how the hell are you going to incorporate that into an online game? Like, could you imagine having... What did Blitzball had in Final Fantasy 10? There was like 12 players, including you. Imagine having an online game like that with 12 actual players. There's no way you can do that in an online structure, especially with the structure of how Blitzball works. That'd be complicated. And I said it before, if they want to add Blitzball, I don't mind them taking a new version of Blitzball, like, or from a gameplay perspective. They could mix it up, make it different. I don't mind it. As long as Blitzball there, I'm happy.
The teal coat that we see there, that's Senator Blunt with her. He is the chair of
Anyways, looks like they're entering inside. Yeah, they're entering inside right now in the Capitol.
And the host of our live stream today. And here they are all coming back in through the east front door, making this turn, and
yeah, everything's being secure inside, which is great.
There are a few things that need to happen before we have some gift presentations coming up a little bit later on. That would normally happen during the inaugural luncheon.
Day is far from done. We have President Biden that has some ceremony signings in the president's room that President Washington
yeah, like
back in 1780s. That
maybe we'll stream until he actually reaches inside the White House. No, I don't think so. I don't think so, because at some point we're all gonna get hungry from this. But I did eat a lot before this, so that way I am full and I don't have to get up out of my seat. So all you can watch this with me. Dun 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 dun.
In this view of the east front that we see here. So what you're looking at, if you can imagine, instead of that huge white painted cast iron dome, if you can imagine a shorter one, wood with a copper roof, and that copper roof, you know, turning green over time. That's an idea of what the Capitol looked like back when Jefferson, well, not Jefferson was inaugurated, back when Monroe was inaugurated, let's say.
Ceremonial unit. You can.
All right, we've got another video coming up, and we have these great videos that are taking you through.
Official actions.
Oh, another video
by the newly sworn President of the United States occur in the President's room, just off the Senate chamber in the U.S. Capitol. After the departure of the former President and First Lady, the new President gathers there with aides and members of Congress to sign nominations and sometimes memorandums, proclamations, or executive orders. This tradition began in 1981 with President Ronald Reagan. Prior to that time, nominations were often submitted to the Senate on Inauguration Day without ceremony.
All right, I think members of the military cordon here, bayonets affixed. Heading back into the Capitol, you can see a fleet cars there transporting all these folks. Of course, the ones with the flags on the front there, most likely vice presidential vehicles.
The area that they're going towards is the law library. And then in that area is where Thomas Jefferson was first inaugurated, March 4th.
This will be a long one, that's for sure.
His second inauguration was in that room.
Yeah, right there.
I'm curious how many Persona fans are gonna go nuts over the fact that I ended up basically putting Persona 5 Victory Theme as soon as this began.
Genius of America, and
I mean, that's uncharacter of me to do that, but it fits, right? You know, Joker wins a battle, and everybody says, you know, dun 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 dun.
And so, friends, there was a part of this porch, if you will, that was extended out about 32 feet just before President Kennedy was inaugurated to give balance to the dome. Now you see people around there. That's something that's in the past that was allowed by the general public. I'm talking about the 1940s, 30s. It was just overwhelmed with people.
Knock this, give you a high five. That's Mark says that.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier there's a famous photo from Lincoln's inaugural where he's out here and
all right, cool.
Crowd
Someone says
so you can hardly pick out Lincoln except for his exceptional height. And in that photo with him actually is John Wilkes Booth, who attended Lincoln's inaugural that day and said if I'd had my weapon, I could have had a shot at him. That's how close he was.
Oh God, why do we gotta talk about that? Why do we gotta talk about one of the darkest moments in this country's history?
Flanking that door are figures of war and peace in those niches there on either side of the east front door. So again, the east front of the Capitol was the traditional front of the building.
I'm just hoping by summertime, you know, we could see more progress, although I don't expect any progress or normalcy to sort of return by fall. But you can't lose hope, because when summer arrived in like early June, that's when you saw some normalcy kind of come back to the world. So we can't lose hope on that.
Today. So here, everything's happening on both fronts of the Capitol today. Here
I'll say this, one thing I'm blessed about, one thing that I'm somewhat grateful is, even though the pandemic has affected all of us, you know, it's made me make more streams on YouTube, and I'm actually kind of glad I'm doing content so that all of you can join in and discuss a lot of stuff.
Friends, look at these beautiful floors.
Wow, 10 people watching?
Minton tiles from
That's awesome.
Stoke-upon-Trent, England. They're $2.
Todos que están mirando este video, muchas gracias. Muchas gracias.
This camera view is President Washington's cabinet. It looks like Henry Knox, Secretary of War, in the corner there.
I don't know if I can emphasize enough how unique this opportunity is for us to see this. I worked at the Capitol
rarely,
for 12
yeah, rarely.
years,
You don't see this. You don't see the insides a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, stand by for a video on the signing ceremony. You want to see this.
All right, another documentary type video.
The first official actions taken by the newly sworn President of the United States occur in the President's room just off the Senate chamber in the U.S. Capitol. After the departure of the former President and First Lady,
didn't we already see this?
The new President gathers there with
we already saw this. Why are they replaying this again?
Sign nominations.
I mean, then again, this is a live event, and they're gonna have to kill some time in order to just, you know, get rid of some time so that we could just, you know, wait until the actual other stuff begins.
Nominations were often submitted to the Senate on Inauguration Day without ceremony.
It's gonna be a while before things proceed here.
So the President's room is a really special room inside the Capitol, and we're actually not going to be able to show you the moments, some of the moments here that we're recording them for posterity, but they're not necessarily going to be live because of the importance of what happens in this space.
You mentioned importance. In 1964, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., along with President Lyndon Johnson. Janet, you mentioned the importance of this room. In 1964, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and President Lyndon Baines Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act. A little story with this. Quite a few years ago,
I swear, it's like we're back in history class, just learning a lot of these facts that I think some of us may have forgotten.
And so she says, I just want to see that. I said,
I mean, or at least it's just a reminder of some stuff of how the Capitol
and
works
little did I know at that
with
time
this
when
day.
she left, and she says, I'm Lenny Bird. It's President Johnson's daughter who wants her granddaughter to see her father in the video. It was such a moving moment for me.
So we're coming up on the signing ceremony here today, folks, and we have some video about that.
It's going to be the same.
The tradition
it's a different video. Oh, okay, different guys.
1897, when the Senate Committee on Arrangements gave a luncheon for President McKinley and several other guests at the Capitol. It did not begin in its current form until 1953. That year, President Dwight D. Eisenhower, Mrs. Eisenhower, and 50 other guests of the JASIC dined on cream chicken, baked ham, and potato puffs in the now restored Old Senate Chamber. From the mid-19th century to the early 20th century, presidents left the Capitol after the swearing-in ceremonies and traveled to the White House for a luncheon prepared by the outgoing president and First Lady. In 1949, Secretary of the Senate Leslie Biffle hosted a small lunch for President Truman in his Capitol reception room. They dined on South Carolina turkey, Smithfield ham, potato salad, and pumpkin pie. In 1953, the JASIC began its current tradition of hosting a luncheon for the President, Vice President, and their spouses, Senate leaders, the JASIC members, and other invited guests. At the inaugural luncheon in 1981, newly sworn-in President Ronald Reagan announced the release of 52 American citizens who had been held hostage in Iran for 444 days. Traditionally, the luncheon often features cuisine reflecting the home states of the new president and vice president or the JASIC chairman, as well as the theme of the inauguration. The program includes speeches, gift presentations from the JASIC, and toasts to the new administration.
Nice. At least it's a different fact other than the ones just they keep repeating for all of us.
This is the Russell Senate Office Building, and we discussed a little bit earlier how prior to the early 20th century, the members of Congress didn't have separate offices. They used their desks on the floor of the chambers, House, and Senate, or they used their private homes to store correspondence, research, and all of the paperwork that they deal with legislation.
It took some time, but by 1909, we had a building that the senators work out of, and then it's renamed years later after Richard Russell from the state of Georgia. And we're located just outside of the beautiful Kennedy Caucus Room, named after John Fitzgerald Kennedy, Robert Francis Kennedy.
How the heck the screen blacked out on me? Seriously.
Oh, look at our control room.
Yeah, the Kennedy Caucus Room.
Seriously, God bless these people because, my God, they're going to be staying up all day filming this and reporting on this story.
Right there, our wonderful team.
They are going to be working very hard, so
as we mentioned, we have
God bless
cameras
them.
in a lot of places that other folks don't, so you can see all of our camera feeds up on the screen there. And this is a huge and beautiful room.
It's so ornate.
It's in the style of Versailles.
Mm-hmm. Well, the windows are from France. Now, you could fit a tennis court and maybe half a basketball court here. I mentioned this earlier. There should be an opera performed here. But this is our control
definitely
center.
Should be an opera.
And we've had over 30 camera feeds throughout the building, throughout the campus, that's giving you this great coverage.
You might have heard a collective gasp from Ron and I earlier when we got that camera view inside the president's room, right? Where right now the president is being briefed, and then there'll also be in a few minutes a little bit of signing activity happening there. It is a beautiful and ornate room inside the Capitol. There really are no unornate spaces.
No. Those are the reporters
inside this Capitol complex. But these are among some of the most beautiful
ones.
The
Bush family is there.
Our friends from Texas, I think, are making a departure.
Oh yeah, they're heading. Oh yeah, they're heading out for sure.
The room has been the site of a few hearings.
Yeah, a few.
The Titanic.
Teapot Dome scandal.
Well, how about McCarthy hearings?
Anyways, as we're continuing this, I'm also curious. I'm also curious what people have to say because obviously,
Watergate hearings. So,
obviously with the pandemic, restaurants are still closed at least for now. I'm curious, do you guys want to see me do similar to this, a watch-along of the Royal Rumble 2021 event? Now, I'm not going to put the actual, now here's the thing, I'm not going to put the actual, you know, I'm not going to put the actual event on there, because if I did, I get striked down, my channel would be gone forever, but I could perhaps just show my reaction.
Where a lot of the action happens. And if you watch hearings on TV, you may notice that you're seeing different spaces than you see when you
yeah, right now I'm seeing the messages. People are freaking happy as hell. How can you be happy? Like, everybody's happy. The majority of this country's happy because it's a moment we've been waiting for years.
As we're coming to you from a separate building over in the Russell
Let's
Senate
hear the
office
Obama
building.
family.
This building is made intentionally to be fireproof.
You know what's ironic, Janet? This building is so old, yet when they built the new buildings, such as the Hart Building, the members didn't want to go to the technology building. Everyone likes everything old. Think about
Let's
this.
see.
Inaugural luncheons for the president.
Let's see how long it's going to take until Joe Biden gives Obama the Medal of Freedom. I mean, he'll do it. He'll do it. I mean, Obama did for Biden during his last week, his last couple of weeks in office. So I'm sure Biden will do the same for his good friend.
1876. So when Ron and I talk about old versus new, we really mean that in like a much further reach. If you can imagine, this new Hart Senate office building he's talking about, it's a little bit older than me, I think. And we talk about the new House chamber, the new Senate chamber.
Chambers.
Those are from the late 1850s.
The new House chamber received criticism because of artificial air, artificial light.
Every time I hear the word chamber, I'm just thinking about the elimination chamber that's going to happen in about a month or so. I believe that's the next pay-per-view.
Inaugural lunches showed a lot of photographs that happened there in National Statuary Hall.
We're getting closer, guys. We are getting closer to WrestleMania, as you guys know.
It's the way the building functions architecturally.
Anyways, I know I'm going off topic with all these discussions, guys, but hey, we're in that moment of just waiting until they arrive. So it'll be a while until
let's go to another video, please.
until the events take place, or the next phase happens.
On March 4th, 1793, Washington gave the shortest inaugural address on record. Just 135 words. Every president since Washington has delivered an inaugural address. While many of the early presidents read their addresses before taking the oath, current custom dictates that the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court administer the oath first, followed by the president's speech. William Henry Harrison delivered the longest inaugural address at 8,445 words on March 4th, 1841. John Adams' inaugural address, which totaled 2,308 words, contained the longest sentence at 737 words.
How can a sentence have 700 words like that? Is that even impossible to do?
Inaugural address through loudspeakers. In 1925,
that seems something that I don't even think no one can really do. I don't think that's possible. If it is, wow.
And in 1949,
because most of us can't go a sentence beyond 30 words average.
His inaugural address over television airwaves. Most presidents use their inaugural address to present their vision of America and to set forth their goals for the nation. Some of the most eloquent and powerful speeches are still quoted today. In 1865, in the waning days of the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln stated, "With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle and for his widow and his orphan, to do all which may achieve and cherish a just and lasting peace among ourselves and with all nations." In 1933, Franklin D. Roosevelt avowed, "We have nothing to fear
but fear itself."
And in 1961, John F. Kennedy declared, "And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country."
Oh, now those are some interesting facts there.
Not only does this JSEC live stream have cameras in places no one else does to give us behind-the-scenes views, we also have cameras placed in some of the historic spaces. So
The reason why is because
that,
this is
Capitol
coming
tour
from the
guides like
official
Ron and
Biden inaugural
myself
committee
can give you
stream.
almost kind of like a
That's sort of
virtual
why
tour
you.
of
That's
the
sort of why you
Capitol.
would
So
want
here
me
we
to.
are looking down at the
That's
rotunda.
sort of why you want to see my stream, because I'm doing
This
it from
rotunda
one of the
floor is
official
about
ones that's doing
7,200 square
differently,
feet, and
unlike
the
the
angles give
news
you a
sites.
view of a
The reason why I
painting.
I'm not doing the stream
color
directly
freeze
from one of the
and
news channels,
style is
because
Trump
easily
color.
the stream would have been
Yes,
taken
I don't
down
speak
right
French
away.
well. That's French to trick the eye. And then you see this sprawling painting called The Apotheosis of George Washington.
Wow.
Painted by a naturalized citizen, Constantino Bermidi, from 1864 to 1865.
So if you can imagine this,
amazing.
folks, this is 180 feet above your head. From this angle, it's like you're standing on the floor of the rotunda, except we've got this X-ray vision where we can zoom in and really look at the fresco on the ceiling. Now, fresco means fresh in Italian, and it's painted on wet plaster. This is done actually in place.
Well, what we're zooming in on is Mercury. There are Roman, or you can use Greek, classical figures that all teach an American story. And friends, I want you to look at the bag of money Mercury is handing Robert Morris. Now look above Mr. Morris's silver hair, and in between the next gentleman's head, Ed, Janet, can you see a silhouette of another head?
Yes, and this is something that we can't point out on tour standing
I
on the floor of
think
the
I
rotunda
see it,
because you'll
yeah.
never be able to see it. So
I'm growing hair doing this.
this scene was actually dated 1865 by the artist.
Yeah, I can kind of
Constantino
see it. I
Bermidi.
can kind of see it
The
too.
gentleman in the black suit, Robert Morris, the financier of the American Revolution.
The amount of
He's
detail and
richest
history in the Capitol is
Revolution.
incredible.
He personally bankrolled a lot of the shoes and weapons and uniforms for George Washington soldiers, and so he's depicted in this scene with Mercury. This is a scene about
2 hours in.
commerce.
Thank you,
Right
ladies and
there
gentlemen.
between those two gentlemen, there was a third face. If you look between the guy in the black suit and the guy in the brown suit there was briefly painted the face of a gentleman named Montgomery Meigs.
The
He was a
shadowy
captain in
figure.
the Army Corps of Engineers. And he essentially was in charge of the construction of the expansion of the Capitol Dome. We've talked a couple of times about how there was an old wooden dome on the Capitol, and then it was pulled off and replaced with 9 million pounds of cast iron.
Just to guess, when Abraham Lincoln was inaugurated, Bermidi probably didn't paint that day. Just a guess.
Constantino Bermidi, you mentioned, he spent 11 months on the scaffolding working on this fresco on the ceiling of the rotunda. And based on the camera views that we have here on this wonderful live stream sponsored by the JSIC, the official hosts of today's inauguration, we can really zoom in and look at it. Again, this is called the Apotheosis of Washington.
600,000 people are watching the official, the one coming from the official site.
Yes, to the right of Mercury.
That
is
includes
Neptune
me as well.
And he's with the transatlantic cable. As the artist is painting the apotheosis, they're physically constructing the transatlantic cable. By the rainbow is Minerva, representing science, talking to Benjamin Franklin, Samuel Morse, and Robert Fulton.
And if you can see at the top right at this point, we're going to rotate around so you guys can see these scenes around the edge. Coming to actually the bottom of your screen right now, you can see Neptune there with his trident, right? And wrapped around that scene with him,
Really?
they're holding onto this thick black line, the transatlantic cable, which is being dragged across the bottom
Yeah,
of the Atlantic.
I'm trying my
All
best to
these
like
frescoes being painted.
look
While
carefully,
Bermidi,
for all those
Constantino Bermidi,
hidden
a
details
naturalized
that
citizen,
are there.
an Italian American, an immigrant to this nation, painting this fresco on the ceiling of the rotunda.
Bellona, the Roman goddess of war,
Well,
war
first
armor,
we got
freedom.
science right there at the bottom, crossing over the bottom, science, and Minerva down there. If you all can see, there's a rainbow coming down.
Yes.
See that stripe coming toward the edge? Right where that rainbow comes down is another
Oh,
guy
I see
in
the
a black
rainbow.
suit
Somewhere here.
there
It's right here,
who
guys.
We may recognize.
I
And
kind of
folks
see
at
the
home,
rainbows somewhere there.
If you don't recognize Benjamin Franklin when you see him,
How can you not
It's about to
recognize
get a lot more
Benjamin
obscure than
Franklin?
that.
We all know who he is.
There's a statue of Benjamin Franklin here by Hiram Powers, sculpted in 1863. Please note that rainbow, you couldn't see it well in the 1950s and 60s because of such dirt and debris and
yes,
soot. Of
this
course,
painting was restored, and there's actually, if you
Yes.
look toward the center of the image, there's a ring of figures, and one edge of it is a little bit flattened. Right in the middle of that side, George Washington.
We're learning a lot of
pinkish
history with the
lavender
stream, so I'm
robe
actually
draped
grateful.
across his lap, and he's seated
Whoever's
on a
responsible and
rainbow.
planned this out, thank you for teaching us some new
all the
lessons.
figures that we see in the apotheosis are also depicted throughout the Capitol complex
Yeah.
in some manner, on a wall, a medallion, what is in the rotunda is often re-emphasized throughout the building.
That's right. These artworks depict allegorical figures, people representing concepts like liberty and freedom, but they also represent real people. And so now we're looking at another fresco. This, again, is a painting on plaster, and this is called The Frieze of American History. This is a narrative wrapping around the rotunda.
Started by Constantino Bermidi.
Yeah.
In 1878. Now, we're at the area you can see like a box
Wow.
or a desk and someone kneeling.
That's
About
impressive.
the general area in which he stopped. He had a little mishap.
Constantino Bermidi, our artist of the Capitol, was up here on the scaffolding painting this fresco around the rotunda.
I tried
And
drawing
it will be,
once, and the only thing I
kind
could
of
draw is a
off
bunch of
to
Final
the
Fantasy
right,
weapons.
actually. This fresco goes chronologically to the right. There we go. And so right here, this scene, there's kind of a box on the ground in
love
it.
it.
Right? This is a moment of transition. So what we got here is a moment where another artist takes over.
His name, Filippo Constantini. Now, friends, there's a person in the middle. It's like he's wearing knickers. For you golfers, as if he was Payne Stewart. Bless his soul. And maybe you can see that the left shoe, or sandal, if you will, looks different than the right. If you can't, look at the three indigenous people. See, they're painted a little larger and what?
Hold on,
a
we gotta
different
take a
color.
look like what's
That marks
exactly
where the
going on right
second
now.
artist takes charge. Filippo Constantini. And he paints scenes that Bermidi had etched, but things don't exactly go quite according to plan.
Yeah, this is something that, again, folks, if you were on tour with us in the rotunda, we would be squinting to try and see this. So it's incredible that we have a camera to
camera
bring in
work.
on this. That guy in the center with holding his cloak in front of him.
Yeah, currently,
that's
if you're looking at
William
this on
Penn.
NBC right
And,
now,
our
nobody's
man
there, so
Constantino Bermidi, our
it's gonna
artist
be a
that was
long,
up
it's
there
gonna
on
be a
that
long day, just
scaffolding, and he was
waiting
working
until.
on William
It's gonna be a long one,
Penn's
just waiting to
foot. At the
find
moment
sort
that he
of
slipped from the scaffold, started plummeting toward the floor of the rotunda.
until they arrive. It's
Bermidi
gonna be a
was
while
not
until they
hurt.
arrive. You know, because
He
they
was
said that
rescued
by
by a
2 or
number of
2:30,
people
you know,
around,
they'll be
including one of
arriving
our
soon. The
predecessors in the Capitol Guide service. He
the
was brought
Harris
back
and the
down to
Biden
ground, and
family.
He declined to go back up that scaffolding, and that's when Congress brought in a second artist. So if you can see William Penn in the
Congress is
center,
pretty good.
holding his cloak in front of him with one hand out to the side, one shoe has a buckle on William Penn and one doesn't.
As a matter of fact, the second artist, Filippo Constantini, actually wrote his name under the three Native Americans, but it's next to impossible to see. So we continue these scenes, and we have, look at this, the colonization of New England.
Wow.
So glad that Reverend Beeman referenced the fact that this Capitol is built on land, land of Native Americans. And they are pictured, Native Americans are pictured in some of the artworks in the Capitol, but they
10
they
people
appear a lot
watching.
in this
Thank you.
particular fresco.
Yeah, we're sort of we're at the point where we're just waiting.
Oglethorpe. That's the scene there, making a pact with the Muskogee Native Americans.
We're at the point and just waiting until sort of for them to arrive into the White House. I mean, will I be streaming that part of it? Who knows?
That Ron and I were telling you about a little bit earlier.
Who
This one
knows?
is painted around the inside of the rotunda, and as Ron mentioned, trompe l'oeil. It's to fool the eye. Oh, look, a little bit of sunlight shining in on that fresco right now. So it's flat. I just want to
I guess we're
emphasize
good.
that in case you can't tell. Flat, painted on plaster, shades of, I know it looks like black and white, but it's actually a deep, deep brown to create that 3D effect. Now, down on floor level, I wouldn't say human scale because they're still quite big.
Oh,
but
the
down on
painting
floor
over there.
level around the rotunda, we've also got a series of giant paintings.
I don't know if it's just me, but just
This is
watching
by
this
John
live,
Garland.
I kind of miss going to
And
museums.
it's
I can't believe this is the first year in
featuring
many
Mr.
years
Columbus.
that I wasn't able
The
to go,
painting size
or
is
last year I
12
was
by
able to go to
18.
the
To give you an
Metropolitan
idea
Museum
about
of
why you're
Art,
coming
because
to the Capitol,
anybody
visit
who
Congress.
is not from New
That
York City, who
door
plans
right
on
there is the
visiting New
east
York City,
front door that
you
we can
have to see the
the light coming
Metropolitan
in there.
Museum of Art.
That's that
It
east
is
front door
something
we can watch, and
amazing.
here it
It's
is from the
amazing.
outside.
We have paintings that are 20 by 30 if you visit Congress outside the chambers. It's you know, we
I've
could
been there a
be
few
here
times
until,
for
the next inauguration.
back when I do projects for high school. And that
Our
museum
beloved
is
East Front once
beautiful.
again.
You guys gotta see it one day.
So
That
there
seems
have
like
been
it's
inaugurations in a lot of places. We talked about this. We started off with George Washington's, originally in New York City. You mentioned that James Monroe was actually inaugurated the brick Capitol.
Yes, the
which was
brick
a little
Capitol.
building across the street. It's not there anymore, but where it was is the site of today's Supreme Court. Looking at the Capitol from the west now, you can see the inaugural platform down there in the center with the flags that built there on the West Front. So some of what you're seeing, the upper edge, is West Front that's always there, an expansion of the Capitol in the 1890s, and the Frederick Law Olmsted landscape architect designed the Capitol grounds around it. But then we also have a little bit of extra, which is built every 4 years. Now, when I want to say a little bit, this inaugural platform is massive. It takes 177 tons of sand to fill in the fountain underneath the West Front so that they can build this platform up over it.
Now, Janet, you mentioned platform and over it. At one point, there used to be a berm there, and Olmsted had it
something's going on?
taken down, if you will, and they put in this terrace. Oh, look at the Senate side of the Capitol.
We have a great view here inside this. We're camera positioned in the Senate connecting corridor, looking at the doors to the Senate chamber there. Now,
okay,
again,
well,
folks, this is
doesn't seem much.
And
Doesn't
actually,
seem much.
If you were on tour with Ron or I, we would be discouraging you from photographing those doors yourself. Those
Absolutely,
Senate doors.
I would.
The
Yes,
United
of
States
course
Capitol
I
Police ask us not to have people point their personal cameras straight at those doors.
Oh
there.
my
It's
God, I
just
can't believe it.
so
If you attempted to
this is
take
a view
photos
that
and
you're
stuff,
getting
you know,
at. No one else
you wouldn't
has,
do
and
it,
we get on
but you
almost no other
almost
day.
wish you could
Something on the
because
left is,
because
Senator
this is a
Robertson
very
from
sacred
Arkansas.
place in a way.
And once again, our beautiful English Minton tiles.
Just around the corner, just out of sight, there's a painting of Hattie Caraway, also from Arkansas,
Yes.
the first woman elected to the Senate. There were women who served in Congress in the early years after their husbands who were members or senators passed away. There was a tradition known as the widow's mandate. But it wasn't until Hattie Caraway elected to the Senate in her own right.
We should mention, not far from Hattie Caraway, upstairs is a painting of Senator Margaret Chase Smith from the state of Maine.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about how some of these artworks are given to Congress from individuals or groups. Some of the statues we've seen and some more that we'll see given by various states.
I don't know why,
There
but
are also
some of
artworks
that
are
song,
commissioned.
one of
And here
the
on Senate
world
side,
themes
like
from
we're
Final
looking
Fantasy
at
14
here,
has been
there's
stuck
a
in my head
collection
for the
of
past
art
few
which
days.
depicts, some of these first.
More so than that
Now,
Wonderland
friends, we
theme
need to
from
be
Persona
specific
5
about
everybody
this. We
just
talked a
keeps
lot
talking
about
about for
presidents, but the vice
Persona 5
president
Strikers.
is the
I'll
president
definitely do a
of the
full
Senate,
playthrough
and
of that. I
there's a
promise
bust
to all you
of every
guys.
vice president of the Capitol, with the exception of one, Mr. Gore's, which is, from what I hear, yeah, it's coming. It's on the way.
Yeah, the vice presidential bust collection lines the Senate side of the building, and actually, as the years go by, there's more and more busts, and they appear in more and more places.
As a matter of fact, from this angle, not far, is Vice President Cheney's bust. It was dedicated in 2015. Ironically, it was dedicated in National Statuary Hall. What's National Statuary Hall? The old House Chamber. Because what? We like it.
It's the old House Chamber, everybody.
You can see folks with cameras getting into position there. Oh, and we're back on the East Front Plaza here.
Oh! Do we got more stuff? I think we got more stuff happening, guys.
There where you see the folks standing and the cars parked. Underneath there, the Capitol Visitor Center, the newest part of the Capitol complex, opened up in 2008. And that's where most folks come through when they come to
I
visit
don't
us.
think anything's going to happen yet.
Hope we're able to. I'm glad we're able to showcase that the inauguration is more than just the oath of office. It's
There's more to it.
It's prior to.
It's a, it's basically, a new
events.
leader rises
I mean,
and more
there are
new people
ceremonies
come
on top
in.
of ceremonies.
There's a lot of
The
interesting
inaugural
stuff that
address
happens.
isn't a requirement, but it's a
Bum
tradition.
bum bum bada bada bum bum
We
bum bum
may
bum
someday
bum.
see a person who declines the opportunity to address. But I was saying earlier that the ceremony almost is how you can track the evolution of technology in our nation, because some of our early presidents, the remarks were quite short. George Washington's very, very short, because there was no television or radio to broadcast it out to the people.
I cannot imagine how it must have been before the 20th century, that just having to attend the actual thing and not being able to hear it, because back then there was no radio, there was no television. They're right.
What, maybe 100 yards?
I mean, this is the first. I mean, obviously for me, this is the first one that I'm doing it, in a public and professional way of streaming it. Because back then I was always a viewer watching these inaugurations. We got an hour left until they arrive, or the parade begins, kind of. And we got 5 viewers watching, so. The 5 viewers that are watching this with me, thank you. Even though this is not a video game live stream like I used to doing, I had to do the stream because of the significance of today and how important it is to all of us. Oh, there's Biden and Kamala Harris, guys.
Pause for applause.
There they are.
Here they are in the president's room. Now this, I will say, is also a tricky
Thank
room to
goodness. So
photograph because of those
I think this is the moment that some of us were
mirrors
waiting
on either
for,
side.
them signing
It is
and all that
not a
stuff.
big space at all.
This is it.
Saw the fireplace there. I'm such a nerd. I think I know how many fireplaces are in the Capitol. So that's gonna be a quiz
Hold
for you right
on,
now,
you
Janet.
Trivia
guys.
question for me.
What the heck
How many
happens?
fireplaces
I'm
were
going to
in
give you
the
3
Capitol?
choices.
Okay.
Okay, 120, 160, 144.
160.
144. Now, how many work? That's another issue.
There's gonna be a lot of. He's gonna have a lot of work on his hands. He's gonna, with everything that's gonna happen. Let's just hope that somehow, we somehow get out of this nightmare, because this nightmare of ours, with this pandemic and everything else, it's gonna be a while. But let's hope it happens.
We'll go ahead and be ready to move on to the Ohio clock corridor. Excuse me.
Wait, hey, something happened right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready for the signing.
Oh, guys, here's a signing. Here comes the signing. Here comes the signing. Hold on.
So we can see President Biden here preparing to sign in the president's room. A small room on the Senate side of the Capitol. We have very exclusive access to
Just making
this
sure.
today.
Sorry, guys. I'm just making sure how everybody's watching this. Okay, so people are watching this from the TV screen. Thank you. Okay.
Archival purposes for posterity.
I'll be back, guys, in a minute.
Again, I want to go back. The reason why we have the president's room,
Yeah.
George Washington. He said the president should have a room where, from time to time, he can meet with Congress and sign bills, or not sign bills, but have interaction.
Yeah, and it's another holdover from a different era, folks, when the term of our president and our Congress overlapped differently. So we tend to think of inaugurations happen in January, new Congress comes in January 3rd, right? But that's been different over the years.
Oh, let's watch.
Guys, we're back. Sorry. There was something else happened, but hopefully I didn't miss too much. I hope I didn't miss too much of the signing ceremony. Signing all those documents, signing all those things, and that's it. At least I saw one. Or there's another. I didn't miss too much, other than the fact that he signed those executive orders. Well, I guess. Welcome, Mr. New President.
So if you don't recognize them, folks, members of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies gathered there. The JSIC gathered with President Biden and Vice President Harris in the President's room, the space that we're seeing here.
Friends, when they leave this room, they're going towards the Ohio clock. Now, the Ohio clock. Friends, when the president and vice president leaves this room, they're going towards the Ohio clock. Now, the Ohio clock has...
Why is it called the Ohio clock?
Well,
everyone's wondering I'm laughing. I'm
it's
just
interesting.
laughing about
A senator
something else
from
right now.
Connecticut, Senator David Daggett asked a clockmaker from Philadelphia...
Will you sing
how much
1,000
wood
words? Maybe.
to complete it.
Maybe I might sing
He
1,000
does in
words one day.
1816, but Ohio came to the Union in 1803. I don't quite get it.
It's a mystery, and no one knows the answer. This clock is
Seth
coming
Roth
to
shall
noise,
rise.
the
Yeah,
Ohio
Seth Roth
clock.
will rise.
It stands in the Senate hallway, which we're going to be
He's
seeing
risen
the
to Super
party
Smash
passing
Brothers,
through
so
soon on their way
hey,
to
I
the
answered your
rotunda
question there.
for the presentation of gifts. We're just wrapping up the signing ceremony here. And so we're on the Senate side of the building in these hallways, which are beautifully decorated. Again, if we can call your attention to the floor for just a second.
Oh.
Minton tiles. They're an encaustic tile, which means that the way that they're glazed is a little bit different than the kind of tile we're used to in our kitchens and baths. They're made in Stoke-upon-Trent, England. They're custom made for the Capitol, hallways lined with these.
Friends, don't just think that the members can walk on these aisles. You can. How? Visit Congress. Janet, I think the number one question that's asked of us, how do I visit Congress? If not the question within the top three. And depending on what part of the building you're in, you will likely walk on these tiles. They're not.
Today's a good day, someone
sacred
says.
for
Yes, it is a good day.
members, no, to the contrary.
That's a great point. The
Wave for
one place
freedom.
you'll see the
Freedom is
Minton
here,
tiles
yes.
Like that is on the
Heart
first
emoji,
floor
yes.
on the Senate half of the building, which we won't be seeing on our cameras today, but we can normally.
Wow,
take
that's
folks
so
there on
cool.
tour.
Holy
The
crap, I had no
hallways were
idea.
decorated
Somebody,
by
it looked like
Constance
somebody
Wu,
turned,
the artist who painted
somebody
the
turned the street of
frescoes inside the Capitol that
46,
we were looking at
46th Street
a
in
little bit
Queens. They
earlier.
replaced it 45th
I'm not
out
done with
and
this Ohio
46th
clock.
Joe
So,
Street.
ladies and
Wow.
gentlemen,
In
there
Queens, somebody
was
did that. That is
a
amazing.
Person known as the
Whoever did that,
man
they,
with the
that's
green
pretty
hat.
cool.
Yes, during Prohibition, he used to sell alcohol in the House office buildings. It was known he had an office. He was exposed, and he moves to the Senate side. and legend has it, in the Ohio clock, spirits might have been kept in that clock, and members had access to it.
I mean, the period where alcohol sale,
There's a lot of
manufacture,
urban
distribution,
legends that some of
except
us
for,
may or may not
medicinal
know
purposes,
that we
the period
may
when
or may
that
never
was
find
illegal
out.
in the United States was an interesting
That's
one.
the truth of many urban
here
legends.
on Capitol Hill, and there are rumors all over of hidden compartments and various places where things must have been hidden, and they create this kind of mythology around this. And I gotta say, there are plenty of mysteries. We don't know why the Ohio clock is called the Ohio clock, but there are plenty of tales of this secret compartment is where, you know, they hid the contraband during the Prohibition period. But I think a lot of them more likely are just quirks of the architecture, because as we've discussed, this is a building that's been built in so many different pieces, and each piece added on to the next, right? And every space enduring these constant changes in what the space is being used for over the years. And what's interesting about this room, the president's room, is it really only has this purpose.
Yes.
What we're seeing happening in here today, this is essentially, and it's a very small space. I want to emphasize that, folks, because space is at a premium inside the Capitol, and there is no such thing as wasted space or empty offices. But this particular space is set aside for this special purpose of the president using it on Inauguration Day. And again, this dates to a time when our president's term and our Congress's terms would be running out March 3rd or 4th, and there would be kind of a race to sign last-minute legislation in that beautiful president's room. Looking down at the rotunda here.
That angle, though, is amazing.
President Biden
Jeez,
may not re-enter
I
the
want to
president's
see
room
it because I have a
until
fear of
either the State
heights. I have a
Union
fear of heights
or-
from this angle.
Well,
God.
Who knows in the future, but I wouldn't think he would be there maybe one or two more times.
It doesn't get used a lot. That's what we're saying. And for us to be able to see this moment of President Biden and VP Harris in the president's room, they've just concluded the signing ceremony. Also stored in this room are some gifts Congress received. There are some ceremonial gifts, particularly from other nations. So we're looking down at the rotunda because what's happening here is people are starting to gather. The spouses of the dignitaries that we were just seeing in the signing room starting to gather in this space for the presentation of gifts, which is going to be happening soon. Typically occurs actually during the inaugural luncheon. This year, because things are a little bit different than past years, there is no inaugural luncheon, and so this is being sort of modified for happening in the rotunda.
It's a 96-foot diameter, 108 windows in the rotunda. And
108 windows? Wow.
If you're thinking, was there a hole there? Yes, it was covered up.
Like
So
you need
the
to walk in the
idea,
top floor. I see
painting
somebody
George
walking
Washington
around here.
glorified.
You guys can see it
You
right
look
there.
down through the hole or oculus to a statue of George Washington in the crypt, and then he would be with Mrs. Washington interred or reinterred, except much of that didn't happen.
Right, that was a part of the design that didn't end up happening, but right there in the center of the rotunda where we see some camera equipment and things now, that was intended to be this statue of George Washington. And actually, you can see the statue that was meant to go there. If you visit our friends at the Smithsonian American History Museum, they've got a Horatio Greenough statue of George Washington, an unusual view of Washington. We are not used to seeing him seated, wearing a classical Greco-Roman toga and sandals.
No, we're not.
And that was meant to sit right there in the middle of the rotunda. Now, there are some sculptures around the edge of the room. One of the oldest in this space is actually a statue of Thomas Jefferson, which Congress received as a gift.
1833.
I should really visit DC one day to view all this stuff again, because I've only been to DC twice. Once in 2013 and then once in 2019.
Especially after the fire.
2013 was probably like a weekend, and then 2019 for at least 2 hours.
So paintings, sculpture are a little bit easier.
I'm curious, how many of you have ever been to DC before, and if you could tell me your experiences.
And onto things like frescoes and friezes that we've seen.
Camera change so far. Something's going on.
Now, the Ohio clock is on the right-hand side. They're coming past that area and other leadership offices.
So again, this is a view of the exterior of the Senate chamber, doors there. This Ohio clock we were talking about, it's one of the iconic artifacts inside the Capitol, iconic timepieces. It would be just out of view on your right-hand side, where you see those 3 folks there kind of in dark suits. Now, just out of view on your left-hand side, portrait of the first woman in the Senate, Hattie Caraway, and that's also obviously where we anticipate seeing the president and vice president emerge in a few seconds.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to picture this. In the old chamber, Senator Breckinridge said, let's pick up our desk and move them into the new chamber. That's how they moved there.
Yeah, so this is the door to the new Senate chamber.
Yes.
And again, when Ron and I talk old and new, we're talking the difference between about 1810 and about 1859. So new would be 1859. And so in there, behind those wooden doors, is where the Senate currently meets, using desks that came from their original chamber.
I wish I'll do it. So, Senate visitation and House visitation. Oh, do you have to be a certain age to visit the Senate?
What's the age?
So I will say that the House and Senate sessions are always open to the public. Anybody can come and watch. You can get a pass from your member, your representative or your senator, and sit in and watch in the galleries. But there are certain rules in the galleries about photography and applause and things like that. And Ron is alluding to.
You better be 6 years of age and older to visit the Senate. There's such a place called the Children's Room. My colleagues have put me
the marching bands. Yeah, they're getting ready. They're getting ready now.
It's not far from that camera angle just gave you. Oh, what a view here.
That's a lot of people.
We see elements of all 4 branches, if I'm not mistaken, for review. And again, I mentioned this earlier. I had served in the 82nd Airborne Division for quite some time. And here they're coming out.
Here we go. Sounds like
they'll be passing by.
Now it's gonna continue for sure.
McConnell's office.
Now, once again, folks, you see the Capitol Police Officer in uniform. The gentleman in the brown coat is United States Capitol Police Officer Eugene O. Goodman, who is serving as the acting Deputy Senate Sergeant at Arms for the day. Speaker Pelosi just went by there.
I didn't notice her without.
Cream-colored dress. She took off the turquoise.
It's kind of hard to notice. Then again, you could easily notice because she had those sunglasses on.
And so as they passed us now in this corridor, they're about to pass by McConnell's office.
Janet, notice the floors have changed.
Fabulous view here of what's called the small Senate Rotunda. So just off the rotunda.
Small Senate Rotunda.
A small area there with the columns. It's actually an air shaft. If you were to look over that railing, you'd see down to the first floor of the Capitol, and it used to distribute light and air in the days before air conditioning and light bulbs and all the stuff that we have now.
Goes the House Sergeant of Arms, Senate Sergeant of Arms.
And our acting Deputy Senate Sergeant at Arms there in the light brown coat, that's Eugene Goodman, U.S. Capitol Police Officer. Folks, you may have seen some photos, video of him recently.
I mentioned the floors. Those are mosaics, which if you visit the Library of Congress, you'll see in abundance. It's the only area in that we have mosaics in the Capitol. Look how President Jackson is dominating that room right now. Look at that posture on the right-hand side.
So these statues, again, are from the National Statuary Hall collection. Every state gets to send 2. There's VP Harris and Doug Emhoff, her husband, heading into the rotunda. And Dr. Jill Biden and President Biden heading into the rotunda. Surrounded
Now this is where stuff will continue.
Here. Including other dignitaries, as we discussed, sergeants at arms.
And remember, this is a scaled back.
Yes, this is a
scaled back operation.
Remember, this is fewer people than we would normally see at inauguration.
I cannot imagine how many people will be crammed inside that thing.
Of these folks that aren't too crowded. This is incredible.
I'm blown away.
As we look down in this direction, that's the door of the Senate at the very end of the hall. That wooden door with the rounded top that you see on it there. And again, if you were on tour with us, I would be asking you, please not point your camera at that door. Because
otherwise, you're done.
Police like to keep that area secure. You can see some Capitol Police officers here flanking this north.
You can't blame them, like you gotta protect this place. Here we go, President, First Lady now.
Oh, look at that beautiful
All right.
painting.
Now, this is a painting selected by the chair of the JSIC.
First Lady and the Vice President and the second gentleman. Normally at this time, we have a lunch, and probably no person alive has attended more of those lunches than President Biden has. It's an important moment where it's bipartisan. It's the time to bond between the executive and the legislative branch of the government. We probably don't need as much bonding because we already have that natural bonding with you and the traditions here. By those traditions, usually there's a painting at the front of that event that the chairman picks. This time, not knowing we were going to have an event until what we were going to do about an event until late, I asked Dr. Biden to help pick the painting, and this is the one that she recommended. The painting is landscape with rainbow. Rainbow, always a good sign. It's loaned to us for today from the Smithsonian American Art Museum. The artist, Dr. Robert Sheldon Duncanson, he was the best-known African-American painter in the years surrounding the Civil War. He was based in Cincinnati, encouraged by abolitionists who, among other things, sponsored a trip for him to do some study in Europe. This is a painting that he painted in 1859, and I think maybe it's sort of the classic America as a Paradise painting that a lot of painters were
pretty
doing
nice
then.
painting, if you ask me.
But for him, a black artist painting this painting that's so much like an American utopia on the verge of a war that we would fight over slavery.
I don't know why, but that
all of that, I
you
think,
couldn't
even
see, but
more
it has a little bit of that futuristic
interesting
look to
in
it for
that,
some reason, even though it's
while he
based on
faced
the
lots
past.
of challenges, obviously was optimistic even in 1859 about America.
I mean, hey, I'm
so,
just saying.
Dr. Biden, thanks for helping select this painting, and glad to have all four of you here as we move on to my good friend Senator Klobuchar.
Nice.
The rainbow is always a good sign. Let's hope so. Go right ahead.
A mixed race artist who created this painting, and it actually depicts essentially one of the last stop on the Underground Railroad.
Door number 2.
Moment on the river.
There we are. Good. Mr. President, First Lady, Madam Vice President, and our very first second gentleman, on behalf of the American people, it is our honor to present these custom-made crystal vases commemorating your historic inauguration. Lennox, which you know is a great company, American company, has handcrafted these gifts for the past 9 presidential inaugurations. It is a good thing I don't have to hand them to you personally. They each weigh with the base 32 pounds, but combined 64. But Jill, I know, is very strong and could take them both.
I do not want to know what those even cost.
The Lennox company is actually based in Bristol, Pennsylvania, which you know, Mr. President, is a mere 132 miles from Scranton. since we know today all roads lead to Scranton. The team at Lennox has worked for months to capture the spirit of this inauguration and your incoming administration. Mr. President, your vase features the White House, and Vice President Harris's features the U.S. Capitol. The gifts represent the hope and the faith the American people have placed in you to move our country forward. Thank you. Thank you.
As Senator Klobuchar mentioned, the Lennox company.
They
is
may
an
be
American
far, but if you
company.
look very
It's been around
closely,
since
those are very big,
1939.
than your average
President
puffs.
Wilson commissioned China for the White House from them, first set of American-made White House china in 1918. Those lead crystal vases, 17 inches tall, she mentioned they weigh 32 pounds. They're all handmade in Pennsylvania by a craftsman named Peter O'Rourke.
Well, Mr. President.
Wait, Mitch McConnell?
Madam Vice President. While the pandemic has sadly limited our usual hospitality, as others have mentioned, I'm very glad we still carry on some of our favorite inaugural traditions. It's my honor and privilege to help present these flags of our nation that were flown over today's event here at the Capitol. Now, I have to make one point of personal privilege on behalf of the Senate. With all due respect to our distinguished speaker and our colleagues from the House, I have to note, not only did we just swear in a son and daughter of the Senate to these high offices, but indeed both these former senators skipped the House altogether. The Star-Spangled Banner is our greatest symbol of our endurance of the American idea. It flies over this building on triumphant days and on tragic ones, over all factions and all parties. And today this flag flew over our former colleague's inauguration as the very first female Vice President of the United States. So to our very distinguished former colleague, Madam Vice President, please accept this flag with the highest compliments and congratulations of the United States Senate.
Nice. We're here to go, handing out the flags.
Senator McConnell here presenting flags that have flown over the Capitol today during the 59th inaugural ceremonies. Speaker Pelosi, let's listen.
Nancy Pelosi speaking right now, guys.
Pointed out that he has hosted this lunch for members of the Senate who have.
Speaking of lunch, I'm pretty sure most of us
President and
want to
Vice
eat some lunch.
President. But I have the privilege of giving the flag to the President of the United States, the flag that was flown when you were sworn in, Mr. President. This flag may it reflect all that is said about your inauguration. America united. May it be a symbol of the hope, the healing, and the just all of the enthusiasm that you have for our country. And as we heard the beautiful national anthem, when we're at the stadium and they say, is our flag still there? Then you say, play ball. Right there, play ball. So we're going to get ready to play ball. We're ready to go with the inspiration of our flag flying. But again, on behalf of the House of Representatives, it is my privilege to extend to you the flag that was flown the early moment that you were sworn in as President of the United States. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Dr. Biden. Thank you.
The flags that declared his victory, and not only that, but declare a new era in our country.
That is correct.
Mr. Emhoff, congratulations. With liberty and justice for all.
Liberty and justice for all.
These gifts are presented by the JSIC on the behalf of the American people. We've just seen flags presented that were flown over the Capitol today. And the next gift actually will be photo portraits of the President and Vice President at the moment of their swearing in.
Oh, really?
These photos had to be snapped.
Oh, so quickly.
Printed.
Escorted over.
How can you print?
It was a real
How can you
sprint.
do that in like less than 2 hours?
They have the mats all ready to go, and they just need to snap the photo in the moment and then get them printed and put the frames together.
How can you do that in less than 2 hours? That's impressive. Seriously.
The Honorable
President
Kevin
Biden,
McCarthy.
Vice President Harris.
Can we
Dr.
get a
Biden,
close-up of
Mr.
it, please?
Imhoff, on behalf of Republicans and Congress, congratulations. Very proud of you both. When President Washington was sworn in as the first president of the United States, only a handful of people saw the ceremony or heard the famous first inaugural address. Today, the inauguration is seen around the nation and indeed around the world. Yet the task facing the nation is no less momentous than it was in Washington's time. I listened to your speech today. You talked among the tension and division. Our task as leaders is to bind this nation's wounds and dedicate ourselves to the values of all Americans share together. With modern technology, just a few minutes ago, it captured in these pictures. History in the making, for all the world to see. This picture should serve as a reminder of that task that we have before us. As a very proud son of California, it is my honor to present to a very proud daughter of California as well. Today, Vice President Harris made history, and all of America should celebrate that. But we should also remember that this is not the end, but just the beginning. As leaders, we are judged not by our words, but by our actions. So let's go forth from here together, accomplish great things for the American people. And every time you look at this photo, remember the beginning of the job we have to do. Congratulations.
Nice. And those photos will be placed among history.
Madam Vice President,
No.
Mr. Imhoff, Dr. Biden, Mr. President. No, Joe. You're Mr. President. And we are so proud of that. Dr. Biden, he makes you call him Mr. President? Marriage is about to get rocky, I can tell.
I hope not. I hope the marriage still remains pretty good.
I too am proud. More than that, I'm ecstatic to present the two of you this picture. A testament to technology and a testament to history.
People are laughing, but yet we still can't get a close-up of it.
Mr. President, in your speech you talked about faith. You talked about tribulations, but you talked about victory. The Johnson brothers wrote a great hymn. You know it well, Mr. President. Today we have a new day. And that hymn came out of faith and out of deep trouble into hope. And they said, facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory's won. That's what your speech was about. And that's why we are so proud and ready to march with you, President Biden. God bless.
Amazing. I guess we can't see it. It's just that they took it from a very far angle.
Office just presented.
From a far angle, I hope they know where they are. Because if they took a bad screenshot, oh, that would be more disaster. I hope not.
That bust of Dr. King was commissioned by Congress in 1986. It's been on that spot since 1989 in the rotunda. They're on the east side
Victory
of the
for all
rotunda,
race and Americans. I mean, it's a victory for America, that's for sure. I mean, hopefully discrimination can at least stop. I mean, you'll never. Because discrimination is just one of the worst things that has happened to us.
Bush, Obama leave. Yes, to Arlington Cemetery. They're still working. They're placing a wreath at the 2 million unknown soldier. So that's what was going on when they left, and then we had the ceremony here. There's President Dwight Eisenhower. Dwight David Eisenhower changed his name. Representing Kansas, a new memorial to him was dedicated last May.
Yes, the newest memorial on the National Mall is the
Yes.
Eisenhower Memorial. And again, these statues, some of the statues we're seeing, part of this National Statuary Hall collection. Every state gets two. This collection was started in 1864. And there are 2 from each one of the 50 states. Only 6 states so far have given statues of presidents of the United States. And so those statues are in the rotunda. Looking out of the east front steps now, preparing for the pass in review is going to be coming up soon. You can see the military cordon down both sides of the east front stairs. Figures of war and peace in the niches on either side of the door. We have a little bit of a better view of the figure of peace there. On our left, you can see her. Classical drapery just at the top of the column of military personnel on your left-hand side of the screen.
I mentioned earlier about everyone liking everything old. Look at the old light fixtures. Those were just made to look like that just very recently, within the last 3 to 4 years.
And a lot of elements.
I noticed it's almost 2, so by then they'll be heading out, and I think the parade begins from there.
Structures on the exterior. A lot of times these are facsimiles because the original ones are being held somewhere where they can be preserved for future generations.
We haven't mentioned the architect of the Capitol, Mr. Blanton, who's the architect, but just the staff. What a tremendous job they do. From inside working to outside and all this that they have to do. It's quite a task.
Oh, you can see it's called a busby, that tall furry hat on the military there.
Notice the band. Notice.
And everybody's lined up and preparing for the pass and review to be starting pretty soon. We do have a video about that coming up in a little bit.
Another history video. I mean, they're waiting. I mean, these guys are waiting until things can get it.
Oh,
can
we've
get
got
ahead.
some
look at that.
Historic uniforms there. We've got some Revolutionary War style. See,
The old
fife and
style
drum
from
corps. So
the
the
1700s,
coats that
guys.
they're wearing, you can see those edges turned up. Those are called the facings. Those red edges that you see around the front edge of the coat. Traditionally, musicians will wear a different color. They will wear the inverse uniform of the main body of the military force, and that makes them identifiable because in times past, especially, people will be looking to the musicians for cues about movements, and also it marks them as non-combatants.
Oh, here comes
So
everyone
we tend
now.
to see very unusual and colorful uniforms on our military bands, such as the Marine Band we've seen today, the Fife and Drum Corps that we just saw, and even the Herald Trumpets, U.S. Army Herald Trumpets. Great view of the east front stairs here, waiting for President and Vice President to come out and review the troops.
I think if you're a certain age, you might think of this area, perhaps, at a certain age, President Kennedy's inauguration, perhaps, depending on, again, the age, you think of Blackjack Pershing and his line in state. Now, I know what you think, well, maybe perhaps your grandparents can remember their parents and the imagery and the newspaper coverage.
Yeah, lying in state and lying in honor ceremonies that have traditionally happened in the rotunda of the Capitol. This past summer, they had to do something a little bit different for Congressman John Lewis, where they actually put his casket kind of right out there in front of that east front door in order for people to file by on the outside. The lying in honor ceremony happened for the first time in 1998. Two Capitol police officers
Officer J.J.
that
Chestnut,
year.
John Gibson.
And in 2005, there was a lying in honor for Rosa Parks. And earlier this year, Justice Ginsburg. There also was a lying in honor for Reverend Billy Graham in years past. And then lying in state is something we tend to associate with presidents, but it's happened for a lot of people, as you mentioned a second ago.
Once they come out,
Pershing,
boom! You're gonna see that big celebration happening right away, immediately.
members of the House, Senate.
Well, who was Henry Clay?
Yeah, he laid in state in the rotunda.
He's
the first. And then a few years later, when Lincoln was assassinated, that kind of cemented that tradition that we expect that to happen. And again, speaking of Lincoln, we're looking at the East Front steps where Lincoln was inaugurated. We actually have on display now in the Capitol Visitor Center a table.
It's stunning.
Yeah, so we have the table that Lincoln placed his notes on for his second inaugural address. And it's made from pieces of cast iron from the dome. So the cast iron, 9 million pounds of iron that makes up the dome of the Capitol. Since it's produced in pieces, there are multiples made, and if you've ever made anything using a mold yourself, you know sometimes they don't all come out perfectly even. So there was a pile of extra pieces and cast-offs, and the workmen working on the Capitol dome during the Civil War went through that pile of cast-offs, put together a balustrade column for the center as a pedestal for the table, some of the decorative elements for the outside to come down and make feet for it, and then they put a smooth top on it, presented to President Lincoln for his inauguration.
I think it's wonderful that American artists and artists from Italy that painted in the Capitol would often use workers in their artwork. The workers here, I love that.
Well, we even know that Constantino Bermedio painted that fresco inside the Capitol Dome. Used some of the iron workers for his models.
Charles Thomas?
Will I play Cyberpunk? Nah, not really.
For the scene of mechanics
Someone in the other chat says, will I play Cyberpunk? No, I mean, if it works.
People to kind of stand in as models to
If one day works, then of course I will.
Remember today's inaugural theme.
I just, honestly, I'll say before, I never understood the hype of Cyberpunk 2077. I didn't even understand the hype. People way overhyped that product, and it just didn't live up to the hype, unfortunately.
A little bit so that you can see a little bit of the historic Capitol on either side of the stairs.
Friends, if you were to come to Washington and walk around the Capitol, even in the evening, when it's dark, the building will teach you something. You will learn something. You'll pass a member of Congress at night and not know it. And you'll go by 20 yards later and someone will say, wasn't that so-and-so that just walked past? I believe so.
Oh, here they come out, guys. Here they come out.
Now, I was just going to say, Calvin Coolidge's inauguration, the first one to be broadcast by radio.
And now the marching band is going to start from here.
And the first one for TV, Truman, 1949. The cables for people to watch it in the Midwest had literally just been installed a few weeks before. Folks on the West Coast still couldn't watch Truman's inauguration.
You all come down nice and steady. Be careful. Pass and review is how they started calling this right now. Yep. Our new, pretty much the two couples I'll be representing this nation.
Some of the commands, that would be nice, yes.
We can hear the applause.
And some of the cheering you can hear, and the screaming. And now here comes the marching band.
Let's listen and watch.
It's a moment in history, guys. The national anthem version of it. Damn, second longest stream ever. That's amazing. That's what someone said, second longest stream ever next to Persona 5 Royal. That is so true. There's gonna be one big march, guys. In all traditions. Oh! I honestly feel bad for them because I don't know how can you survive this cold weather that we're experiencing, especially the fact that it snowed earlier today. Yankee Doodle. Oh, here we go. Here comes a limousine. I think this is it. I mean, there's no way they're gonna walk. Even it's gonna look weird, you know, walking around. So they're gonna take them. Congratulations to both of them, once again. Wait, is Kamala Harris and her husband getting a second limousine? Or they're gonna share? They might share, I think. I mean, they gotta be very protected with all the security that's going on.
Janet, what if I were to tell you that in one day you would have a new job and change your place of residence in the same day? What would you say to that?
Seems like a lot, and a new ride.
A new car.
And a new car there. I don't know if everyone noticed how thick those doors are when they put the.
Is that really a new car? Because to Biden, this isn't new. As a as a former vice president, he knows that experience of riding in cars like this.
Presidents while doing it. William Howard Taft and John Fitzgerald Kennedy.
The vice president getting into the car there with the flags.
Yeah, I was right. They're getting their own. They're getting their own car, at least their own car ride.
You know, Chairman Blunt, the JSEC announcing this inaugural, 59th inaugural, spoke about this event, commonplace and miraculous, and how this stands as an assurance to all people of our continued, unbroken commitment to continuity, stability, perseverance, and democracy. We have a statue in the Visitor Center of Frederick Douglass.
Yes.
And on the base of it, a quote from one of his addresses. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. This year's inaugural theme, selected by the JSIC, our determined democracy, forging a more perfect union.
Let's hope this union can
I
somehow
would say
succeed in
a
this country.
display of that today.
As we see the vice president and the president loading into
So we're
limousines
getting to the
preparing
point where they're
depart
gonna
here on
finally
the east
enter
front
inside
of
the White House,
Capitol,
guys.
Following the pass and review of troops.
Dun 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 dun.
Family members headed back as well.
Is the NBC News special report in that theme song? Are they copyrighted claim? I think they might be.
You know, at times, I didn't sense a pandemic or a lot of security. At times, it seemed like, well, this is what I'm used to, but there were times in which I said, oh my.
Well, I
see
think
the difference.
this 59th inaugural is familiar and it's also different. Oh.
It's the least attended inaugural physically.
But for the better, because you don't want this virus to spread onto others, especially since we have older people that could be at risk.
As the technology advances in our nation, these events can reach more and more people, right? You know, 1845, people heard about James K. Polk via telegraph getting inaugurated, his speech going out via telegraph. James Buchanan, 1857, the first to be photographed. You can actually see that on the website of our partners, Library of Congress. Photographed, and of course those inaugurations here on the east front that we're looking at through our cameras. Then of course broadcasts on the radio, broadcasts on the television, and now live streamed out over the internet.
How about President Carter, who's not here to attend, but is seen? It's perhaps better in some cases.
Oh yeah, because there's no way he's going to tell with his age. He could easily be in danger of being exposed to the virus, so thank goodness.
From his comfort of his own.
Close up on the license plate there, it said 46. Our 46th president inside that limousine, again nicknamed the Beast. It's very heavily armored. You know, McKinley's was the first inaugural to be filmed with sound recording, 1897. And if you can imagine, we've talked about how in the early years with Washington and Lincoln, people straining to hear the president's remarks, you know, and the sound amplification for the crowd doesn't happen until 1921. But in 1897, people were able to listen to the sound recording.
But yet we hear about the good old days.
The good old days was the late 2000s, or maybe the 2000s in general. Those are the good old days for me.
Installed yet. One of those skylights there, that's the top of the Capitol Visitor Center.
It's a gorgeous view.
As we see the vice president's car going by there. Sorry, that's president's car going by there. Departing now for Arlington Cemetery. Here on the East Front Plaza, right above the Capitol Visitor Center. That big glass skylight you see there, the water feature around it, black granite from Clovis, California. These flagstones, the pavers that the cars are going over from South Dakota and Minnesota. Stones selected. There are 17 different states represented in the stones of the Capitol.
I was just guessing among, just as you were talking, I think there's probably 8 to 10, 17?
17 different states represented.
I learned something today.
Absolutely. There's some stone from Kentucky on the borders of the rotunda. Here in the Russell Senate office building, the Kennedy caucus room that we're stationed right outside, there's some black veined marble from New Jersey in there. It took the architects a full year to find it.
A full year.
So throughout the day, we've been able to show you several videos showcasing history and traditions of inaugural ceremonies, and we do have one to close out today.
We have another history? We have another history documentary? More history learning.
And the vice president.
Here we go.
You can see the Cannon House office building in the background there.
Whoa, did something happen? Oh.
Members of Congress would live, because again, like the technology enabling us to watch and listen to this inauguration, the technology for members to travel has improved dramatically. The Senate has collected oral histories, and the members say the biggest change was jet travel.
You mentioned technology for technology for travel. The House and Senate schedule used to be based upon the growing season. Members would leave for months because they were planters.
Yeah, and
So
the
the
traditional
calendar.
August recess
Yes.
that Congress takes is based around
So now
that
they're heading.
agricultural
They're finally heading to the
calendar, and
Capitol.
also
Thank
the
goodness.
Unpredictable Washington D.C. weather, if you
Just
can
a
believe
bit.
it. We've
Just
seen
a bit.
today. We've seen clouds. We've seen sunshine. We've seen high winds. We've seen snow flurries. A little bit of all three happening right now, it looks like. As we see the motorcade depart from the east front of the Capitol. Cannon House office building there with the crane at the top right.
Oh, I love it. I can't say enough about the people who have performed admirably with these cameras. It just...
Yeah, so we see the cordon coming down off the east
It's around the
front steps
country.
here, and we have one last video to explore history and traditions of inauguration.
So let's see what's this last history that we're going to be learning, guys.
The inaugural ceremonies may be a routine event, but it remains a unique symbol of our constitutional system. Today, as we celebrate the inauguration of the 46th President of the United States, we signal to the rest of the world that we are united as a people behind an enduring republic.
Nice.
On behalf of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, thank you for joining us today for the
So
59th
that's
inaugural
it?
ceremonies.
I mean, there's the
It's an
other
historic
part
day.
that's going to
We
begin.
hope to see you all back at the Capitol soon to take a tour with us or watch a session of Congress or attend one of the events.
So don't tell me this is the end.
This has been our privilege.
I mean,
Thank you to
I mean,
the camera crew. Thank you
it's
to
probably going to continue on in some of the other networks,
Capitol
but
Visitor Center, to Capitol Police.
yeah, there's no point continuing the stream because I could easily stream it across a different live stream, but the problem is if I did, I'd probably get a strike.
And thank you to the Joint Congressional Committee for giving us the opportunity to be on this live stream with you all today.
Let me check out like some of the other networks.
Everyone, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, hold on a second, guys. Looks like NBC News has something right now. NBC News has something. Let me take a look at them. Yeah, they got something else going.
Process, as you know, called budget reconciliation.
Here we go.
That process for a number of issues, not all, requires only 50 votes plus the vice president. So there is a lot that we can do through budget reconciliation, and I intend to do everything I can to make that happen.
You simplified it well. I'm not going to get into the term reconciliation, but basically the president has a choice. He can choose to go a route where he tries to pass something with 50 votes plus one, or where he tries to get Republican bipartisan buy-in on the big plans. He seems to indicate that he wants to try that bipartisan approach, which it really is at odds, or at least in tension, with what you're talking about.
Let me see.
No problem with reaching out to Republicans.
Yeah, it's just comments. All they're doing is just commentary. So I don't even know what's the point, honestly, if they're just gonna be commentating about the other stuff, other than just heading out to DC. But for now, I could just give my opinions. Is that as we wait until they arrive to the White House,
provide massive tax breaks to the rich.
it'll be a while.
We're going to use it to protect the working families and the middle class of this country. I'll give you one example.
It'll be a while until until these folks arrive. Yes, here we go. This is greater footage. This is greater footage. Okay, so right now they're okay, so we're getting a first-person view of them taking taking them to the White House, which is great. Because honestly, like, I could really put them hearing them commentary, but let's be real here. They're just going to be talking about the same stuff. I'd rather sort of give my own opinions of what I think. Bam 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 para bam bam para bam bam para bam. By God, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. What has happened? Okay, we're good. I was thinking, has the monetization aspect, has that been taken out? I don't think so. That's great. What's happened to this damn company? I don't know. Presidential motorcade. Okay. With all the security, that's... I guarantee this could have easily been like a 15-minute ride, but with all the security, this is going to be a much longer ride for them to head to the White House. Alright, now we're back to the one camera system. Dum bum ba. Still waiting, huh? Jeez, that many cops? Wow. Or, that many security? My goodness. Did I just hear a dog in the background? When I said, when it's done, yeah, I will never wanna know. Oh God, I feel so sorry whoever's responsible for filming this, because now we're all stuck in crappy 144p quality. We can easily see the memorials in the background. So yeah, we're getting closer. How long will this take? This could take, I would say, a good 5 to 10 minutes until they arrive. It's a very sacred place. Whoever owns that car that's driving, you better buy yourself a good camera, for Christ's sakes. Yep. The tradition of shooting the cannons. When this day is over, it'll be interesting to see which version of the stream will have the most trend views for filming the entire ceremony. Not necessarily me, but I'm saying which one of the news networks, because there's a bunch of them. You know, you have NBC, ABC, CNN, Fox News, etc. One of them are going to take the huge lead tonight. Someone said they're back. Oh, they're back? Oh, okay. All right then. I'm actually gonna head back to the original stream where we were. Yeah, this is the original one. Okay. I had no idea. I had no idea that he did another version of the stream already. So thanks to the one that said that. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know on that. Yeah, right here, right now it's a moment of silence. Oh.
Armed Forces Honor Guard and the United States Army Band are formed and awaiting the President and Vice President to move to the tomb of the unknown soldier to place the wreath.
When will I stream 14? Hopefully by this weekend. There's the answer to your question, viewer. Am I the one who's hearing laughing in the background of the stream? Here come some of the guests. The former presidents. I believe that's the Clintons. The Bush family. Yeah, that was Bill Clinton. Next time is the Bush family, and of course the Obama family. I believe this is the moment of silence right now. Yeah, this is a moment of silence right here.
Order, guard. Attention.
Yep, here they arrive. The Biden family and the Harris family. Meeting up with the other presidents. Yeah, no wonder why it took so long, because before they enter in the White House, they meet up with the former leaders of our nation. Yeah. Hold on. Why am I getting a blacked out scream? I guess they're having technical issues. Here we go. A salute to our nation. Nice.
Order! Order! Present! Arms!
A salute to our soldiers, everyone. Order! Order! Paying the respects. There they are standing. Right here in Virginia. So that's gonna be a long bridge to head back. The silence moment. Oh, now they're having typical issues. Yeah, so I guess for now we're gonna have to wait for a bit. Yeah, coming up, the presidential escort and the parade across America. Yeah, it's gonna be a while before. I would say it'll be a while. Maybe it might be like a 10 minutes or so, because we're at that part where you have to pay tribute to the soldiers, and after that, then they'll be. Everyone, time for us to have some fun with some blitzball music to celebrate.
Officially, today is about the inauguration of our president and vice president, but in a larger sense, it's a celebration of our democracy and the entire American people. We truly are celebrating America.
Shaking hands. Wait, Al Roker's? Did you just shake hands with Al Roker again? Get the handshake. Who cares what they're asking? It's time to party, everybody. Freedom! Sorry, guys, I had to do that. I am so sorry I had to do that. But hey, you can't help myself. It's victory. Oh, wishing a kid happy birthday, huh?
Hey guys.
Woo!
Love you. Love you guys. Love you. Woo-hoo. It's our family. It's our family.
Baby, how are you?
Yep.
Mr. President, how are you?
I'm well.
What's your message to the world?
Unity.
Hey, you guys, we're gonna let him talk. Everyone, the pool, move to the side, please. We're gonna let the president talk. Pool, can you hold, please? He's gonna turn around.
I'm just trying to get over.
They're almost there, guys. Everybody, they're almost there, and we can finally celebrate. Who's excited, guys? They're almost there. They're at the entrance, boys. Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, cool, let's go, cool. You guys, let's go, cool, let's go. We gotta move. Let's go.
Well, thankfully I saved that, so now everybody knows that I'm dancing the Blitzball. Dun 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 dun. Same. Well, Mr. President, you deserved it. You deserve this. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Salute you, Biden. Or shall I say, the Biden couple. The moment we've all been waiting for, by God. God bless America, everybody. Yes! Welcome to your new home. And you can just tell just how happy they are.
That concludes the historic 59th inaugural presidential escort procession.
Well,
and now,
I think we're going to
as
end
we
it.
continue with today's parade across America, here's Jon Stewart.
Yeah, it's the parade there. They're going to show the parade for
Good
everyone.
afternoon and
Oh,
welcome
it's Jon Stewart.
to the very first virtual presidential inaugural parade across America. As you just saw, as is tradition, the parade and procession began at the United States Capitol and culminated with the arrival of President Biden and Vice President Harris at the White House. We may not be able to be together in person, but we can still gather, even if it's virtual, and celebrate this grand tradition. This year, we've had to create a new style of parade, allowing Americans from our states and U.S. territories the ability to participate safely from their hometowns. It's been a tough year. Pandemic, economic downturns, political divisions, social unrest, but we need to remember this, that every day, you may not be hearing about it on the news, you may not be seeing it on the internet, but there are millions of unsung American heroes who are keeping our nation going, caring for our loved ones, teaching our kids, keeping us all connected, making us smile, reminding us about what it is to truly be an American and what is great about America. That's what this day is about. An America united by our commitment to each other. One of those heroes is Dr. Jason Campbell. He's a resident physician in Oregon. You probably know him a little bit better as the dancing TikTok doc. Dr. Campbell, how you doing?
Mr. Stewart, I'm doing well. How are you? Thank you for having me today.
It's when pretty much over now, is this a recent thing? You're tremendous. It's gotta be over. Clearly, you've had training.
I started dancing when I was in
it's
high
pretty
school,
much over.
You know, maybe 7th or 8th grade with popping and locking and breakdancing.
So for anyone that's okay, so pretty much the parade's officially over, I guess. So I paused it. So now it's official. We got ourselves a new president and a new vice president. One of them, vice president, making history, and I'm gonna give some last words. Look, none of us don't know what's gonna happen within the next 4 to 8 years in this country. But I will tell you this: people of my age or those who are a little slightly younger or slightly older, we got a chance to vote during this election, to speak our voice, show our voice, and I think this is what America, 60 or 65% of the population wanted. The one thing I am hoping is, with all of these new plans that both of them have in place, is that hopefully this will set all of us on a better path. I mean, look, this pandemic's not going to go anywhere. I mean, this pandemic's going to keep blooming within us for many months, but with the vaccine, hopefully it'll help us out. And there's not much I can say other than because here's the thing, because I don't want to crap on the Republicans that much, because here on YouTube, it's not a good idea to even express your political opinions. But I'm just hoping that somehow both parties can work together on this, because if there's anything, this country really has a lot of issues, and we gotta fix them. Not just the pandemic, the economy is still not recovered. The police brutality, the racial injustice, all the jobless that are happening. It's a big mess in this country, and we gotta fix it. And hopefully, with a new leader, that we have, the new administration, that hopefully this country can repair itself, and hopefully it'll lead all of us to having better lives. So that's all I'm gonna say. But to everybody who's watching, I just want to say thank you so much for joining this stream. I mean, we have been streaming exactly 4 hours and 46 minutes. This is legit my longest live stream. Yeah, almost 5 hours of covering this inauguration with all you guys. You guys clearly want to see this inauguration with me, and I gave it to you. So all I can say is to everybody who watched this inauguration with me, thank you so much. God bless America, and let's hope this is the start of something better. So thank you guys. See you next time. And once again, congratulations to the Biden family and the Harris family, especially the Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, for the victory, and may you lead all of us on a better path. Thank you. Bye, guys.